Welcome to Chinese Novel Audiobook. Chapter 21. Mouth Escape. Sensing the change in Rock Lee's mood, Naruto showed a slightly apologetic expression to Sasuke, then walked to Rock Lee, patted the latter's shoulder, and when the latter raised his head, he looked straight into his eyes and said gently. The Rock Lee I know is always passionate, full of enthusiasm for training, and eager to become an excellent ninja. You don't suit this kind of dejected expression, it's ugly. Passionate about training, eager to become a good ninja. Tears glistened in Xiao Li's eyes. Naruto is still the gentle and polite Naruto. And I am no longer qualified to be a ninja. He lowered his head again, his shoulders trembling. I am the last one in the class to refine chakra, and I don't have the talent for chakra, I can't even master the three-body technique. Having said that, 2 lines of tears rolled down his face. After a while, Xiao Li burst into tears. It was Rock Lee's dream to become a ninja. But the blows of the past few days undoubtedly made this little boy feel hopeless in advance. No matter how optimistic he is, no matter how passionate he is, he can't show a smile at this moment. My best friend, Naruto, is a perfect genius who is superb in martial arts and is willing to share his training experience. I believe Naruto will abandon me as a friend after knowing that I am a good for nothing. If you don't have ninjutsu talent, then focus on taijutsu. Who said that ninjas must know ninjutsu? Don't be overwhelmed by worldly prejudices, Xiao Li. Edge rings. Rock Lee looked up in disbelief. The sun shone on Naruto's bright and gentle smiling face, adding a touch of tolerance, warmth, and a caring big brother atmosphere. Naruto's eyes are so sincere, just like his parents trust him. Focus on physical skills. Focus on physical skills. Can I really do it? Rock Lee was stunned for a moment. Xiao Li, since the ninjutsu talent is not as good as that of others, then we will learn from each other's strengths and make up for our weaknesses, and put in 100 times, 1,000 times, or even 10,000 times of effort to practice physical skills. Don't you always believe that? You are a hard-working genius. Naruto's warm voice fell into Rock Lee's ears. At this moment, Rock Lee couldn't restrain his tears. The pain and grievances of the past few days poured out with the tears. Naruto, thank you very much, I am lucky to have you as a good friend in my life. I will work hard, and I will not disappoint your expectations. I will definitely become a ninja. He wiped his tears awkwardly, and bowed forcefully to Naruto. Fool, we are best friends. Naruto pulled Rock Lee up. Tell me, you are still the passionate and fearless Lee Rock, you will definitely become an excellent ninja. Well, I will definitely become an excellent ninja, and I will prove myself with hard work. Rock Lee wiped away his tears, and a long-lost spark ignited in his eyes, and shouted loudly. I'm going to start practicing. As long as I work hard, I can become an excellent ninja, and I want to keep getting stronger. In this way, I can stand by Naruto's side. Rock Lee said firmly in his heart. So, under Naruto's gratified and Sasuke's shocked eyes, Rock Lee started running around the training ground. The first lap, the second lap, the third lap, is not enough. To defeat the ninja who is good at ninjutsu, I need to make more efforts. I need to have a speed that is difficult to catch with the naked eye and ample energy, physical strength. The weight is not enough, order double the weight tomorrow. In the setting sun, a thick-browed boy in simple casual clothes was running around the training ground, wearing heavy weights. After running, even squat down and start leapfrog, so as to exercise the endurance and explosive power of the legs. His face was flushed, his body was sweating profusely, and the dirt on the training ground he ran even left water stains. Every time he fell into physical exhaustion, his body seemed to surge out a force to support him to continue running. Sasuke's mouth grew slightly, this scene was imprinted in his mind, and he couldn't shake it off. This guy, no, is Rock Lee dying. Can this stupid method really catch up with a genius? Sasuke looked at Naruto, but saw that the latter was looking at him gently. Are you surprised that there are people as stupid as Xiao Li in this world? Huh. Sasuke hurriedly waved his hand. No. He's really stupid. Sasuke was stunned by Naruto's next words. He is so stupid that he knows that his ninjutsu talent is not enough, but he still wants to realize his dream and become a ninja. He is so stupid that he knows that this training method is destined to be difficult, but he persists without hesitation. It is said that Konoha is the cradle of geniuses, but who knows that behind these geniuses, ordinary people like Xiao Li are trying their best to catch up. You and I are very lucky, because we are born with the gift of a sword, and we can achieve far more results than Xiao Li with the same training method. But that doesn't mean Xiao Li is mediocre. His perseverance and hard work beyond ordinary people's imagination will accumulate like raindrops, until one day it erupts like a tsunami, surpassing everyone and shocking everyone. In my heart, he is a hard-working genius. Hard-working genius. Sasuke's pupils trembled. Looking at Rock Lee, who was sweating profusely on the training ground, Sasuke asked himself if he could persevere. www.mtlnovel.com. The answer was no. This kind of training beyond human limits is beyond his imagination. Is this why you are so strong? Sasuke looked at Naruto. Good. Naruto nodded. The world will never remember a loser, only hard work can become the top. Naruto pulled off his coat, revealing the dense load inside. You are actually wearing a weight to fight me. At this moment, Sasuke was almost at a loss for words. When you find that your talent is not inferior to your partner's efforts that are several times greater than yours, you will feel ashamed in your heart. Sasuke was very ashamed. I was actually wasting my talent. Compared with them, I am mediocre. Naruto placed his warm palm on Sasuke's shoulder, and his voice was as warm as the sun. Sasuke, you have the blood of Uchiha. From the beginning, you have already won most of the people, but don't be complacent because of your talent. You have to remember that everyone is moving forward. Once you stop, you will be defeated, will be surpassed. Naruto withdrew his hand and looked at the setting sun with deep eyes. This is also the reason why I work hard. I want to surpass everything and stand in the sky. On the way back, walking on the road dyed red by the setting sun, recalling the bits and pieces of today, Sasuke's heart is complicated. Naruto, who has the talent of terror but still works hard. Rock Lee, who works so hard that it is frightening. For some reason, the words Naruto said kept popping up in Sasuke's mind. I want to transcend everything and stand in the sky. Standing in the sky. Involuntarily, Sasuke felt a surge of fire in his heart. Chapter 22. Sasuke won. It was a perfect day for Naruto. Let Rock Lee, who was depressed, rejuvenate his fighting spirit, and let Sasuke further understand his ambition. More importantly, show your own strength and will of fire. I believe that my score in the hearts of the three generations is 1 point higher. Inside Naruto's office. Naruto's physical skills are so good, he started practicing with so many weights at a young age. Naruto's will to become stronger cannot be ignored. The third generation smoked a pipe and looked away from the crystal ball with a pensive look on his face. It is not good news that Nine-Tails Jinchuriki is in contact with the Uchiha clan. The Uchiha clan has always been a wealthy family that the Konoha executives desire to control. Their blood successor gender Sharingan can be called Konoha's no. One blood successor gender. But powerful at the same time, Sharingan is also known as the evil blood succession boundary, which needs to be stimulated by life and death to open its eyes. Kaleidoscope Sharingan even needs to kill blood-related people to develop it. All this casts a ***** and cruel veil on Uchiha. In addition, the ancestor Uchiha Madara once established Konoha with the first generation of Naruto Senjujuma, and finally went to darkness. Many villagers define Uchiha as dark and bloody. Full of vigilance against it. The high-level Konoha headed by the third generation used tactics to force Uchiha to move to a remote area, and let him take charge of the thankless department of the Konoha Guard. Over time, the friction between Uchiha and other villagers has increased. This is why Uchiha is not welcomed in Konoha. For the third generation, they must put an end to the Uchiha becoming stronger. Uchiha can't get Naruto's friendship. Otherwise accidents may occur. Thinking of this, Sandai frowned. Being in a high position, the idea is not to suppress blindly, but to balance. Just like he allowed the roots to build up, although his rights have been differentiated to a certain extent, there is also an extra department that does dirty work. Just wait and see what happens. Naruto, who inherits the will of fire, may be able to assimilate Sasuke. Let Sasuke love Konoha as much as his older brother Itachi. 3 generations muttered to themselves. On the other hand, Sasuke, who returned home, quickly received family-friendly condolences. A certain brother's expression changed instantly after seeing Sasuke with a bruised nose and a swollen face. A boiling killing intent was brewing in his heart. Although our Uchiha clan is not welcome in the village, it is not to the extent of being bullied. Who is it? Who hurt my Odudo? But in an instant, he recovered his usual gentle smile, stepped forward and asked Sasuke, Sasuke, why do you have so many injuries on your face? Sasuke touched the wound, grinned his teeth in pain, and replied, I competed with Naruto today, but the gap is a bit big, so I keep losing. But it doesn't matter, with Naruto's guidance, my physical skills have been improving. Naruto is really nice, he patiently gave me moves. Uzumaki Naruto. Uchiha Itachi narrowed his eyes were a bit unkind. I didn't expect Naruto's talent to be so outstanding, even Sasuke is no match for him. Uchiha Fugaku looked pensive. It seems likely that Naruto has inherited the talents of his father, Minato Namikaze. From this point of view, Konoha should hold on tighter. Thinking of this, Fuyu's eyes darkened a bit. For Uchiha, this may not be a good thing. He was worried that Konoha would use Naruto as an excuse to embarrass Uchiha again. Fuyu sighed. The patience of the Uchiha clan has almost reached the limit in Kazumi's forbearance. At this rate, rebellion will be inevitable. Stop talking, the food is ready, go wash your hands first. Sasuke's mother Uchiha Makoto came out of the kitchen and said gently. The family sat around the dining table, and Sasuke continued to tell the details of today's training. From taijutsu to ninjutsu. Sasuke, you even used the fireball. Not only Itachi, but even Fuyu couldn't believe it. Sasuke's grasp of ninjutsu is not yet stable, but even so, the power of the fireball is not something a 5-year-old can stop. When they heard Naruto split the fireball with a knife, their expressions were even more horrified. Uzumaki Naruto's taijutsu and swordsmanship may have reached the level of genin. Uchiha Itachi and Fuyu looked at each other and nodded slightly. He decided to take a good look at it in the next few days. Naruto said that if you don't work hard, you will waste your talent, so I will work harder, Kasan. From now on, I will train with Naruto and Rock Lee every day. I can't lose to them. Sasuke was full of fighting spirit. For Sasuke's decision, Fuyu naturally raised his hand in favor. For a long time, he thought that Sasuke lived too well under the protection of his brother. This is a good time. After experiencing setbacks, I understand the difficulties of ordinary people. I believe that Sasuke can go further in the future. Night. Makoto had just finished cleaning the dining table, and Sasuke took Itachi to practice in the yard just after eating. In his words, the gap between himself and Naruto is too big, and he may not even be an opponent of Rock Lee. He must work harder, and he cannot lose, because he is a proud Uchiha. Looking at Sasuke's back in the yard, Uchiha Makoto's eyes were a little melancholy. She was washing the dishes with a complicated face, not knowing what she was thinking. Uchiha Fugaku came out from behind and said in a low voice, the relationship between us Uchiha and the village is getting more and more tense. Naruto, as Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, will definitely be controlled by the third generation. We can't change Naruto's status quo. I know, but he is Kushina's child after all. If the village is not hostile to us, at least we can give Naruto a good life, and we won't be hated by so many people like now. Thinking of her deceased friend, Makoto wept silently. Fuyu sighed. This cannot be changed. Reading www.uakanshu.com. As long as the 3 generations of the same line exist, we Uchiha will never have a day of success. He muttered to himself. Since the 3rd generation of Hokage came to power, Konoha's top family and combat power have been withering at an incredible speed. Just over 10 years have passed, and now even Uchiha has fallen into an unprecedented crisis. Uchiha, will there really be a tomorrow in Konoha? Fuyu's eyes struggled. Where the leaves dance, the fire is also alive. Naruto put down the will of fire, propped his chin and fell into deep thought. He has been exploring the will of fire that continues to Konoha to this day. As the saying goes, knowing yourself and the enemy is the only way to survive 100 battles. Naruto tried to analyze Konoha's high-level ideas from the will of fire. In repeated pursuit and exploration, Naruto discovered. After 3 generations came to power, Konoha's founding family, the Senju clan, gradually withered, and was even exterminated in the Ninja World War. The current situation of the Uchiha clan, which is opposite to the Senju clan, is also very bad. They moved to a remote area. Although they are in charge of the actual Konoha guard, their reputation and status in Konoha has been declining. First wipe out the most threatening Senju clan, and then divide Uchiha. Although he controls the Konoha guard, it is actually a trivial matter that offends others. Uchiha's arrogant character is used to create conflicts between them and the villagers, from the root cause reduce Uchiha's power everywhere. Maybe in the next few years, Uchiha will also be exterminated for various reasons. Naruto looked apprehensive, and came to a conclusion in his mind. This is definitely not something Hokage can do. The third generation should have a very important helper. What is the attitude of that helper towards me? Chapter 23. Nine-Tailed Fit. From that day on, Sasuke joined Naruto's training team. With the example of Naruto and Rock Lee, Sasuke practiced much more intensively, trying to surpass Naruto. During training, Naruto also became interested in Sasuke's brother whom he had never met. In Sasuke's mouth, his brother is called Konoha's first genius, and he is gentle. It's just that Itachi is very busy after joining Onbi and rarely returns home. So when Itachi is at home, Sasuke will stay at home with his favorite brother. With the addition of Sasuke, the food quality of Naruto and Rock Lee has also been rising steadily. The virtuous Makoto always prepares a sumptuous bento for the three of them. Naruto kept this feeling silently in his heart. During this period of time, Naruto did not go to the sealed space. Chakra's practice is still difficult, and Nine-Tails is still stubbornly interfering, but the strength seems to be reduced. Naruto also left Kyuubi behind due to training. Until one day a month later, Naruto was surprised to find that his three-body technique was extremely smooth and natural. He just remembered that there is actually a Nine-Tails inside him. Is he reminding me to enter the sealed space? It seems that he can't bear the loneliness. Naruto smiled dumbly and entered the sealed space. Tick-tock. There was the familiar sound of dripping water again, and when he opened his eyes, he saw the extremely dark sealed space. Naruto walked towards the iron gate with ease. During this month, he has not been to the sealed space, and he has not even seen Aizen once. He has been immersing himself in cultivation, whether it is the ghost way or the slashing technique, he has improved visible to the naked eye. Smelly brat, come here quickly, stinky brat. As soon as he appeared in the sealed space, Naruto heard Nine-Tails roar like a collapse. When Naruto walked to the iron gate, just when he was about to see Nine-Tails clearly through the dim light, suddenly a paw firmly grasped the iron gate, a distorted fox face stuck to the iron gate, his eyes were full of madness. Little ghost, you won, I admit it, you won, hurry up, let me open the follow-up game, hurry up. Fox Claw slammed on the iron gate frantically, and Nine-Tails' voice became hoarse and frantic. During the slapping, he even slammed his head against the iron door, and the sound made Naruto's brows twitch wildly. Through the light, Naruto could clearly see the appearance of Nine-Tails. The hair all over his body was messy, his eyes were full of bloodshot eyes, and he looked at him with urgency, just like a dying person seeing the fountain of life. Is this the internet addiction mentioned in the book? Naruto's eyes widened, and there was a glimmer of understanding in his heart. Even a beast as powerful as Nine-Tails is vulnerable, and even has mental problems. Such a virus is really terrible. Naruto took a step back subconsciously, as if he was afraid that he would also be infected with internet addiction. This step back made Kyuubi anxious, thinking that Naruto was going to leave. Immediately grabbing the iron door, the fox's face was pressed even tighter, and even the marks of being strangled. Don't go, kid, don't go, I won't interfere with your chakra, don't go. No more interference. Naruto asked back. Don't interfere, really don't interfere, if I interfere with your chakra again, you will let me starve to death and die of boredom. Juwei nodded like pounding garlic. Kyuubi has been very serious during this tormenting month, and has thought over and over again. Freedom is important. But now the relationship between various ninja villages is tense, and there are countless strong men dormant in the ninja world. No one knows what the ninja world will look like in the future, and what kind of strong will appear. If you leave Naruto's body now, a little bit of himself will become the goal of all ninja villages. They all long for their own power. The current self may not even be able to defeat Konoha's top combat power, let alone face the entire ninja world. Although Kyuubi is confident, he is not arrogant. Now is not the time to leave Naruto. Although Naruto Uzumaki is a stinky brat and has a bad personality, the black box he made is very interesting. Just reluctantly stay in his body for a while longer. During this period, play the game in the black box well, and wait quietly for the opportunity to be free. Well, it's decided. Smelly, Naruto, cough cough, the old man has decided not to interfere with your chakra. Kyuubi resisted the desire for the game, pretended to be calm, coughed lightly, and said seriously. You don't want to go out. You don't want to destroy Konoha. Naruto asked jokingly. Konoha is just gravel to the old man, you can destroy it anytime you want. Ninetales snorted coldly. Small eyes can't help but glance at the computer. Naruto followed his gaze and saw a strange interface. There are 5 cute creatures on it, corresponding to the numbers. Naruto has read similar explanations in books. Those words represent levels 60, 63, 63, 71, and 42 respectively. Feeling Naruto's gaze, Kyuubi looked proud. These are all the elves of the old man, with a high level. This fire-breathing dragon is a special attack. It spouts flames like an old man's tailed beast cannon. There is also this Bai Diao, although he is very handsome, he was a small one before. Broken bird. Kyuubi turned into a teenager with internet addiction, talking freely. You have fun, I'll go back first. Naruto was not interested in listening, so Yu reading www.uakanshu.com had no choice but to turn around and walk in the direction he came, preparing to leave the space. Wait a minute, Naruto. Unlock the game for me. Kyuubi roared heart-piercingly behind him. After Naruto left, Kyuubi returned to the computer. The restrictions of the game have disappeared, he skillfully grasped the keyboard and the mouse with 2 paws, and started to enter the game mode. Ha 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 ha, the old man's spirit is already invincible. The first gymnasium owner, how come the elves are only level 16, which is not enough to fight at all? As soon as he left the sealed space, Naruto tried to use ninjutsu again. Proficiency in not seal, second body technique. After the smoke filled, an identical Naruto appeared in front of him. Successful. Naruto put down his hand, his eyes filled with joy. With the cooperation of Kyuubi, Naruto's ninjutsu practice has also improved by leaps and bounds. With his help, Sasuke and Rock Lee have also improved a lot in strength. The most important thing is that Rock Lee strengthened his belief and charged towards Taiju wholeheartedly. His weight is even more than Naruto's. In the following days, Kyuubi passed the Pokemon game and began to release chakra interference. It wasn't until Naruto entered the sealed space angrily that Kyuubi revealed his purpose. He wants more games. In order to create an internet-addicted evil fox, Naruto downloaded several new Pokemon games to Kyuubi's computer. In the days that followed, Naruto and Kyuubi had a tacit understanding. When the Ninetales game is cleared, it will interfere with chakra. At this time, Naruto will re-download the new game. Chapter 24. Multiple Shadows. Another year in the blink of an eye. Time came to Konoha's 54th year, which was also the year when Naruto was 6 years old. During this year, Naruto has always maintained a refined and gentle attitude. Since he had never done anything harmful to nature, and would even help the villagers find their lost pets and deliver food to the elderly villagers, his reputation finally began to change soon. Ordinary villagers still responded with hostility, but they no longer maliciously abused them as before, and more ignored them. After all, Naruto's handsome and elegant appearance can't be hated. Naruto even gained some little fans. And on this day, Naruto received a good message. On a certain night, the 3 generations arrived without an appointment, put a letter on the table, and smiled gently. Naruto, do you want to go to the ninja school? Here is the admission letter. So I'm already 6 years old. Naruto picked up the envelope with a puzzled look on his face. From the knowledge of Death God's present world, he learned that people can celebrate their birthday every year, and birthday is the happiest day of the year. Relatives and friends will accompany them to spend an unforgettable day together. But my birthday is always alone. Moreover, he doesn't even know his own birthday. I don't know when I was born or who my parents were. Who else can you trust in Konoha? I will go, I will definitely become an excellent ninja, no, I will become Hokage. Naruto held the envelope tightly, looking very excited. I believe Naruto will be able to do it. Sandai happily smoked his pipe. I'm sure you can meet many new friends in the ninja school. Naruto's eyes were full of longing for the future. Seeing Naruto, who is usually stable and steady, showing a childlike excited expression, Sandai smiled slightly. That's right. Like a child in Konoha's cradle, grow up happily, study hard, inherit the will of fire, and fight to protect Konoha. This is the correct way to open Nine Tails Jinchuriki. This is also the Naruto that Minato and Kushina want to see. Thinking of this, the guilt in Sandai's heart decreased a lot again. Under his own training, Naruto is already on the right track, and he has lived up to the expectations of his apprentice Namikaze Minato. He really is Konoha's best Hokage. Naruto, you will form a bond with your classmates in the ninja school, and you will all become excellent ninjas. The day after tomorrow is the day of reporting. Don't be too excited to sleep these days. Go to bed early and get up early, and don't be late. On the first day of the report, we must leave a good impression on the teacher. The third generation touched Naruto's head kindly, and started nagging like a grandfather. Naruto nodded excitedly, even tears flickered in his eyes. Grandpa of the third generation, I will not disappoint your expectations. He hugged the third generation tightly, very tightly. The third generation patted Naruto on the back lightly, and whispered, Naruto, the third generation grandpa is very optimistic about you, and you will definitely become the future Hokage. As everyone knows, Naruto in his arms showed extremely indifferent eyes for a moment. Hokage, he's not interested. Inside the sealed space. Tick-tock. The familiar sound of water droplets sounded. Naruto opened his eyes, and the goal was a sci-fi space filled with brilliance. The sky is a shining colorful starlight, mixed with patterns of elves and mechs. Streaming light flickers on the wall, outlining the atmosphere of science fiction. Seeing this scene, Naruto sighed and walked towards the iron gate. From afar, you can see an adult-sized fire-breathing dragon standing beside the iron gate. The fire-breathing dragon raised its head to the sky, with a fierce and imposing face. And on the left of the fire-breathing dragon, there is also a figure of a cute fox demon, Xiaomei Niang, dressed in cool clothes and winking like silk. Arceus, the elf creator god, I don't know how he compares with this old man. If you want to get my approval, you must try your best to defeat this old man. Ninetales muttered to himself from behind the iron gate. Naruto saw that the space inside the iron gate was bright and simple, decorated with a bed, table and chairs. Kyuubi was sitting on a chair, with his legs on the chair like a dead house, operating the computer intently. The bed behind him is painted with elves. There are posters of various games on the walls of the room. And the original dark computer mainframe has been transformed into a radiant appearance, with colorful lights shining non-stop, making Naruto's eyes dazzled. In just 1 year, the sealed space has undergone sudden changes. During this year's exchange, the relationship between Naruto and Kyuubi has also made great progress. Hey, Kyuubi, how are you doing? Naruto sat down in front of the iron gate and greeted. Well, it's okay. Kyuubi stared at the computer screen intently, quickly operated his hands, and replied absently. Internet addiction fox is really rude. Looking at Kyuubi, whose expression fluctuated with the game, Naruto thought about how to start the conversation. How are you playing the game recently? Do you want a new game? After thinking for a moment, he asked. Kyuubi briefly looked away from the computer and glanced at Naruto. Tell me, what kind of deal will you use? Kyuubi clearly understands that Naruto is a boy who appears to be refined and polite, but in fact is rational and realistic to the point of terror. He won't condolence to himself, www.mtlnovel.com, unless he has what he wants. Chatting with you really saves time. Sure enough, Naruto smiled. I want to learn ninjutsu. Ninjutsu. I don't know how to do it. Kyuubi directly rejected Naruto. Don't rush to refuse. I checked the history of the documents and found that you appeared about 40 years ago and were suppressed by the first generation of Hokage. Since then, you have been locked in a cage. Naruto was not in a hurry. Said slowly. Being mentioned in the past, Kyuubi's eyes showed a murderous look. The first generation of Hokage was the disgrace of his life. Because of the sentence, "You are too dangerous, so I want to seal you," Kyuubi started a life of a prisoner in the dark for decades. In the past few decades, you must have changed several hosts. They should learn ninjutsu from scratch like me. This means that you are likely to remember certain ninjutsu seals, and I need these. As a reward, I can download 2 new games for you. Naruto gestured with ***** with a confident face. HMPH, then I memorized some ninjutsu seals. Ninetales snorted coldly. What ninjutsu do you want to learn? Multiple shadow clone technique. Naruto said without thinking. In communicating with Sasuke, he learned about this forbidden technique. Through chakra to create a physical clone, the clone will have a consciousness independent of the caster's body and a certain ability to resist blows. After the release, the memory and experience of the clone will return to the body. This is a ninjutsu tailored for practice. This ninjutsu is not easy, at least 3 are needed. Make a deal. Hiss, why do I feel like I've been duped? There seem to be too few of the 3 types. Kyuubi was startled to feel that something was wrong, with an angry expression on his face. Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audiobook YouTube channel Chapter 25. I have a bad personality. Shadow Clone Jutsu, AB level ninjutsu developed by the second generation of Naruto Senju Tomona, is widely spread in the ninja world. As long as he has mastered this technique, coupled with the 9 tails chakra in his body, Naruto can create hundreds or even thousands of shadow clones as he likes for cultivation. It's just that this technique has a disadvantage that cannot be ignored: the memory of the clone will return to the main body. This also means that if Naruto summons several avatars to practice, after the practice is over, the pain beyond the limit experienced during the practice or the feeling of being killed in battle will be instantly fed back to Naruto's spirit. For ordinary ninjas, it is likely to collapse because of this. So the practicality of this ninjutsu in battle is not high. Because if the avatar is blown up, the instant pain fed back to the main body is likely to make the caster dull for a moment, and the battle is ever changing, and a moment of hesitation may lead to death. So if you want to use the shadow clone in battle, you must at least practice to ignore the pain caused by the explosion of the clone. These are all the information Naruto learned from Sasuke. Although the information is complete, the specific situation should be based on one's own display experience. Smelly brat, your mother. Kyuubi realized that he had said the wrong thing in the middle of his sentence, and hurriedly changed his words with the internet language he learned from the game. The difficulty and danger of your hen, the shadow clone. The former 9 tails Jinchuriki had to spend a lot of effort to successfully practice this technique. You have to remember, you have to proceed step by step at the beginning, and don't create too many clones at once, otherwise you will die from pain. Kyuubi seemed to think of something, showing a hint of a smile. I think Ju Shinai, who didn't know the heights of the sky and the earth, did such a stupid thing at the beginning, but the pain of hundreds of shadows bursting into body feedback made her cry directly into tears. Alas, although Kushina hates it, she is considered a pretty good person. Things are different, and it is unexpected that Kushina's son has become his personal strength. If Kushina knew how Naruto was treated in Konoha, I believe that with her character, she would give Midai a hard punch. Putting away the memory, Ninetales smashed his lips and waved his hand perfunctorily. With the old man's chakra, let alone 100, even thousands of clones are easy, you should cherish it. I'll teach you after I finish this one. Okay. Naruto sat down on the spot and didn't bother Jue anymore. In the training ground not long after, Naruto began to seal. Multiple shadow clone technique. Bang bang bang. A series of sounds like firecrackers sounded, and then hundreds of elegant Naruto in white robes appeared in the entire training ground. As Ninetales Jinchuriki, Naruto's chakra is bottomless, coupled with terrifying resilience. The technique of multiple shadow clones can be said to be tailor-made for him. Hi everyone. Naruto greeted his shadow clone. Hello. Hundreds of shadow clones answered in unison, their voices were deafening and full of momentum. Very good, what do you want to do now? Naruto decided to verify whether the shadow clone had independent thinking. Train. A little sleepy. Chat with 3 generations of grandpas. Help the villagers. Naruto. Have different answers. Naruto nodded in satisfaction, looked at one of the shadow clones, and said apologetically, I'm sorry, I want to blow you up and experience the pain. Naruto, I think you can choose other people, I am different. The shadow clone said with a smile. I'm different too. You still can't see my scale, because we are in different dimensions. Naruto, you won't strike. In my heart, you are gentle and refined. Tell me you won't blow me up. Naruto, I understand that you want to become stronger. In my heart, you have a very high talent. Before you blow me up, please give me the last 5 seconds to see the world. The Naruto began to pretend to be sneering, or turned into warm men. Naruto blasted a shadow clone with a black line on his head. The pain was transmitted to him immediately. He only felt a slight pain in his chest, which was almost negligible, but it did exist. Such pain is completely acceptable, even receiving such pain in battle will not affect the body. But you must know that if hundreds of shadow clones die together, the accumulated pain will be unbearable. To be conservative, Naruto removed most of the shadow clones, leaving only 10. Standing in the open space, he cleared his throat and his eyes became firm. Everyone, I think everyone knows what our purpose is. That is to become stronger. Without hard work, talent will be wasted. In order to become Hokage, we need to have power beyond everything, so. Before he could finish speaking, he was interrupted by a shadow clone. This kind of chicken soup doesn't work for me. My eyes have already seen through nothingness and seen the essence. There is also a shadow clone with a gentle smile on his face. Naruto, what you said is very good. I think the same as you. Let us work together towards a better tomorrow. The Naruto, with independent thinking will stick to their own personality just like Naruto, and at the same time have inner pride. This really gave Naruto a headache. He could only wave his hands to disperse these shadow clones. You guys arrange the cultivation yourself. You reading www.uakanshu.com. Don't be lazy. After the words fell, the shadow clones scattered and disappeared one by one, and it didn't take long before Naruto was left alone. From this point of view, my true character is still very troublesome. Naruto maintained a perfect smile and said in his heart. Stretching his muscles and bones, Naruto picked up the mirror flower suigetsu and started today's cutting technique practice. He knew that judging from his seemingly gentle and inner arrogant character, those shadow clones would never be lazy. I have to work ***** my own body, but I can't be compared. Naruto actually learned the technique of multiple shadow clones. The third Hokage, who collects materials daily, looked away from the crystal ball with a thoughtful look on his face. The jutsu of multiple shadows is not a high-end ninjutsu, but how did Naruto learn it? Could it be Uchiha? The third generation squinted his eyes, showing a fierce light in his eyes, and then hid the sharpness. Impossible. I have been observing these days. Although Sasuke mentioned this ninjutsu, he didn't teach Naruto the knot seal. And Uchiha is not stupid, and will not interfere with Naruto's practice. In that case, it should be Nine Tails. A look of surprise flashed in Sandai's eyes. The ferocious Nine Tails is willing to teach Naruto ninjutsu. This is something I never thought of, but this will not affect my plan. Nine Tails Jinchuriki is very suitable for the multiple shadow clone technique, and Naruto's growth rate will increase faster. But he still needs more bonds, let him go to Iruka's class. Although Iruka hates Kyuubi, he is still gentle and kind in his heart. He may become another ray of light for Naruto. Chapter 26. Ninja School Day 1. Konoha 54 years. Ninja School entrance time. In the morning, Naruto woke up early in the morning. This is the first day of ninja school. No matter how mature he is, he can't hold back the excitement in his heart. After making himself an exquisite breakfast and preparing a lunch box for lunch, Naruto washed and dressed. Similar to the white robe of the captain of the Reaper squad, with a black lining. Naruto even gave himself a pair of black-rimmed glasses. Look in the mirror. The young man in the mirror is gentle and elegant, with 6 cat-like beards on his exquisite facial features, which add a unique temperament to him. This stinky brat is quite handsome. Today is Naruto's big day, and Kyuubi is rarely addicted to games. The current Naruto has the gentleness of Namikaze Minato, but it is different. Kyuubi can feel that Naruto is strong inside and soft outside, and his heart is actually more proud than anyone else. As he said before, disdain non-original power. Even so, the chakra used by Naruto is still his own. HMPH, brat, no matter how proud you are, you still have to rely on the strength of this old man. Fourth generation, as you hoped, I became the power of Naruto, but you remember, he and I use each other. I don't have any sympathy for him, for me, he also it's just my prop. Ninetales snorted coldly. I am different from the past, and now I can also think. I want to help Naruto grow up, and I want to watch him judge Konoha with my own eyes. Ninetales smiled. He doesn't believe in Naruto's becoming Hokage theory. He had a hunch that the future Naruto would definitely give him a big surprise. In order to see the wonderful scene, he decided to temporarily hibernate in Naruto's body. Inside Naruto, Aizen was also quietly paying attention to all this. He adjusted his glasses, and the corners of his mouth curled up. Time is so short. In the blink of an eye, Naruto has reached the age of enrollment, and the mysterious veil of the ninja world can finally be glimpsed. If the chakra system is worth studying, it might as well use a few death experiments. Aizen's eyes turned cold. It was getting late. Naruto put on the burden, put all the necessary preparations into the backpack, then opened the door, and ran towards the ninja school in the center of the village. The appearance of Naruto quickly attracted the attention of the villagers. Why is he dressed so handsomely today? Several villagers hesitated for a moment and exchanged in low voices. Now many villagers have used he instead of the nine-tailed demon fox and monsters. Today seems to be the opening day of the ninja school. He can't be a student, right? My god, can he still be a ninja? Would it be too dangerous? Probably, no, at least he hasn't hurt anyone so far. Fortunately, although many villagers do not admit it, Naruto's changes have already left a good impression on them. These sensory changes are subconscious. Naruto ignored these discussions and hurried towards the ninja school. There are huge crowds of people in front of the ninja school, all of whom are parents who have gone through the admission procedures for their children. After Naruto appeared, more eyes focused on him, with disgust, surprise, and even amazement. It's so handsome. A few little fans who didn't know the situation directly held their faces and became nympho. But soon my parents told me not to get close to Naruto, otherwise it would bring misfortune. Naruto made his way through the crowd and handed over his personal information directly to the teacher in charge of the grade. The registration teacher's gaze was rather calm, and he dealt with it quickly and released Naruto Accelerator. After politely saying thank you to the registered teacher, Naruto walked towards the classroom, maintaining a perfect gentle smile all the way. This made many parents think in their hearts, aside from the identity of the nine-tailed demon fox, he is a very polite child. Of course, these thoughts were just fleeting. When Naruto opened the door and entered the classroom was almost full, and his appearance received everyone's attention, even mixed with the exclamation of immature girls. So handsome, is this handsome guy our classmate? It looks so gentle and temperamental. I feel more attractive than Sasuke-kun. He smiled at me like, oh my god, I'm falling. Sure enough, compared to the cold Sasuke-kun, I still prefer this kind of gentleness. Naruto was a little overwhelmed by the praise in the classroom. But he immediately reacted, showing a gentle smile, and began to scan the classroom with his eyes. Soon, he saw Sasuke who was sitting by the window, pretending to be indifferent, waving at him. Surrounding Sasuke were two girls, one with blonde hair and the other with pink hair like cherry blossoms. This guy Sasuke is quite popular. Naruto smiled dumbly and walked towards Sasuke. My name is Haruno Sakura, you can call me Sakura. My name is Ino Yamanaka, I. Before he got close, he heard two girls chirping about introducing themselves, and then looked at Sasuke with a helpless expression on his face. The lethality of the cold-faced man against girls of this age is astonishing. Morning, Sasuke. Naruto greeted Sasuke. Good morning. Sasuke nodded, looking at Naruto. From Sasuke's eyes, Naruto saw the meaning of asking for help. Well, you reading www.uakanshu.com, this handsome guy and Sasuke really have their own merits. Sakura and Ino immediately became uncomfortable after Naruto came out, and talked softly together. Excuse me, can you let me go? Naruto asked gently, standing in front of Sakura and Ino. The golden sunlight poured through the window, reflecting Naruto's warm smile, making Sakura and Ino stunned. This way, please. They hurriedly stepped aside, looking at Naruto with amazed eyes. Mature, sunny, the image of the big brother next door that exists in comics. This classmate is so perfect. How are you doing? Naruto asked softly after taking his seat. That's right, Kasan made us a bento, let's invite Rock Lee to eat with us at noon. The corners of Sasuke's mouth curled up, causing many students to scream. Sakura and Ino huddled in their seats, fascinated by the exchange between the two beautiful boys. The thoughts are constant, and it has even progressed to the stage where one of them has a baby. Only then faced a problem. Which one are they going to choose? At this time, Iruka walked into the classroom and wrote his name on the blackboard. Unino Iruka. Hi everyone, I'm your teacher, Uno Iruka, please come forward to introduce yourself, hobbies, names, things you hate and things you like. Uno Iruka glanced at the faces of every student. In the end, he stayed on Naruto's face for a few seconds with complicated eyes. His eyes are so strange. The vigilant Naruto suddenly frowned. From that gaze, he felt hatred, sympathy, and even a little struggle. What a complicated look. Who is he? Chapter 27, Naruto's self-introduction. Although he knew for a long time that he would become Uzumaki Naruto's teacher, after actually seeing Naruto, Iruka still couldn't help feeling hatred in his heart. His parents died in the Nine Tails Rebellion. Naruto is the Nine Tails Jinchuriki who carries the Nine Tails. Kyuubi is the culprit. But what did Naruto do wrong? He did nothing wrong, even Naruto was a victim. Looking at the mature Naruto with a refined smile on his face, Iruka's heart shook. He naturally knew how Naruto was treated in the village, and even he himself once wanted to join the bullying party. Even a mature ninja like him would feel uncomfortable hearing those ugly faces and horrible curses, let alone a young child. However, growing up in such a hostile environment, Naruto still maintains such a smile. He really loves Konoha. In such a comparison, these talents like myself look like real demon foxes. Iruka suddenly had mixed feelings in his heart. He looks away. So who would like to be the first to come up and introduce themselves? Soon I had my first classmate. Hi everyone, I'm Murano Hai, my hobby is eating. My name is Haruno Sakura, I like red bean ball soup, but I hate. My name is Choji Akamichi. I like barbecue and eating. I hate eating snacks. Following the self-introduction of each classmate, it was soon Naruto and Sasuke's turn. Under the watchful eyes of the students, Sasuke took the lead on the stage. Because he is not good at communication, Sasuke showed a rather cold look. My name is Sasuke Uchiha. I like to eat meatballs with my brother and train with Naruto and Rock Lee. I hate people who get in the way. I hope to surpass Naruto and become stronger. Sasuke's self-introduction aroused many students' curiosity about Naruto. The Uchiha clan has always been a representative of geniuses, and Sasuke is the son of the patriarch and has attracted much attention. Before this, the students thought that Sasuke would be the number one genius in the class. But Sasuke said that he hopes to surpass Naruto. Doesn't that mean Naruto is stronger than Sasuke? Isn't Naruto the one? Some students exclaimed, but then covered their mouths. Their eyes are shocked, unable to combine the personable and gentle Naruto with the monster in the mouth of their parents. With his elegant temperament and his legendary status as a demon fox, Naruto Uzumaki's color in the eyes of many girls suddenly became confusing. So mysterious, so, like it. After Sasuke finished his introduction, it was naturally Naruto's turn. Naruto walked up to the podium step by step. At the same time, in Hokage's office, Konoha's senior management gathered to observe Naruto. This is a live broadcast through a crystal ball. The three generations of Naruto Sarutobi, the trio of elders, and the gathering of these high-ranking high-level officials with great power are enough to show the importance attached to Uzumaki Naruto. Even though Sandai repeatedly emphasizes that Naruto is full of love for Konoha, the other elder advisors still want to believe that seeing is believing. On this special day of admission, Naruto's speech will become very important. It is likely to affect the direction of his future development. Once Naruto shows any possible threat to Konoha, Danzo will immediately attack. However, the third generation did not panic at all. He knew that Naruto was the one who inherited the will of fire. Naruto was thinking about his self-introduction when he woke up in the morning. He knows that the third generation will definitely understand his first day of ninja school through some means, so his words and deeds are very important. Naruto, who is full of ideas, came to the podium, looked directly at those curious little eyes, and said calmly, "My name is Uzumaki Naruto. I like to practice with Sasuke and Rock Lee, and enjoy the feeling of becoming stronger. I like to explore the unknown and learn new ninjutsu. If you hate it, I hate being hated by others, and I don't want my friends around me to be angered because of me. I hope I can be good friends with everyone. If you have any troubles, you can come to me. I am willing to listen. In the future, I hope to become Hokage, protect everyone, turn into a flame, and ignite Konoha." After finishing speaking, Naruto nodded slightly to Iruka and walked off the podium. "Wow, so charming, I feel like a very reliable person. I really want to be friends with him." Naruto could hear the whispers of countless students, and almost all the girls looked at him with eyes full of affection. Sure enough, warm-faced men are more popular than cold-faced men. Uzumaki Naruto is a good student. Iruka chewed Naruto's words repeatedly, with a smile on his face. No matter how sensitive Naruto's identity is, at least he is his teacher and should treat him with complete fairness. Inside Naruto's office. After listening to Naruto's speech, the elders fell into a brief silence. For a moment, Sandai broke the silence. He was smoking a pipe with a smile on his face. "See, under my training, Naruto has perfectly inherited the will of fire, and he will warm everyone like Minato." Turning to sleep, Xiaochun said, "That can't be said, Naruto at this age is too mature. Is it possible that what he said is what we want to hear? www.mtlnovel.com. And he said that he hates being hated by others. I also hate my friends being angered. Let go of the fetters between him and his friends here. He must have suffered a lot of malice in the village, then he will definitely breed dissatisfaction with the villagers, and even the village." Mito Menyon echoed from the side. "That's right, I think he's showing too much love for the village, which makes people a little uneasy. Apart from these, I quite like his attitude towards his friends. HMPH, in my opinion, he should be handed over to the roots for cultivation. That is a foolproof choice. I will train him to be a war machine that is only loyal to Konoha and will not have any other emotions. In his world among them, there will only be Konoha. The shackles of emotions are fragile and may deteriorate at any time." Danzo, who was on crutches, said coldly. Hearing Danzo's words, Sandai's eyes suddenly turned cold. He remembered the rumors spread by Danzo that Naruto was the demon fox who destroyed Konoha and killed 4 generations. It's these rumors that brought Naruto to where he is now. At that time, the 3rd generation thought about standing up to refute the rumors, but later pushed the boat along to make the rumors float more violently, so that he could become Naruto's only light. As Naruto grew up, the 3rd generation saw Naruto's deep love for Konoha, and somewhat regretted his original decision. If Naruto was allowed to grow up like an ordinary child, he must be a ninja loyal to Konoha now. Rather than being suspected by the elders now. Nobody believed Naruto could keep his love for Konoha after receiving so much malice. These cannot be changed for 3 generations. He could only say coldly. Naruto's growth is under my control. He will be the ninja who inherits the will of fire. Don't forget, I am Hokage. Chapter 28. Daily Life of Ninja School. After Naruto settled down in his seat, the students in the front row started chatting with Naruto. The 2 sides introduced themselves and had a preliminary understanding of both parties. It's just that Naruto didn't know that in the corner of the classroom, a girl with lavender short hair and white eyes looked at Naruto silently. Her face was slightly red, and she didn't know what she was thinking. After all the students were introduced, Iruka led the students to receive the textbooks, and then entered the stage where the students were familiar with. A circle of students surrounded Naruto and Sasuke immediately. Naruto also has a preliminary understanding of his classmates. There are those from great families, and there are common people. From the initial contact, there are a few who can try to make friends. Sasuke, Naruto, hello, my name is Haruno Sakura, I hope we can be good friends. At this moment, Naruto saw the pink-haired girl pulling the blonde-haired girl coming, with a shy face. My name is Ino Yamanaka. Although I introduced it before, I believe you don't remember it. You should remember it from now on. Compared with the seemingly shy Sakura Haruno, Ino Yamanaka is more enthusiastic and generous. Sakura Haruno and Ino Yamanaka. They are both very beautiful girls, I remember you both. Naruto said gently with a smile on his face. Hearing Naruto's praise, Sakura and Ino were immediately elated. Sasuke on the side couldn't help but rolled his eyes, and muttered in his heart. Naruto doesn't spare a lot when he praises girls, but he always has a very harsh attitude towards his training results. After all, Sasuke is still a child, and after hard training, he always hopes to be praised by his partners. But every time Naruto waited, he said gently, "Not bad, but we have to work harder." This frustrates Sasuke, and he wants to be praised. The subsequent ninja courses were very boring, and Iruka talked about very basic knowledge. Naruto has already learned from books. In addition to basic knowledge, Iruka also taught related content such as the will of fire and the will of ninjas. These Naruto have long been familiar with the heart. In terms of understanding of the will of fire, he is definitely a master. He could even write a sequel to Will of Fire. After school, Naruto and Sasuke walked to the door side by side, waiting for Rock Lee. The three walked towards the training ground together. As soon as they entered the training ground, they saw Naruto's avatar training in full swing. Naruto, you secretly trained with the shadow clone. Sasuke's eyes widened and he raised his voice. No, I have been practicing with shadow clones openly and above board. Naruto replied with a smile. But, I thought you'd relax a little on your first day at ninja school. That's why you think, after you've known me for so long, I seem to be a relaxed person. Naruto put down his backpack and began to stretch his muscles. It's you, Sasuke, you're slack. I did have the idea of being lazy today. Sasuke was a little ashamed, put down his backpack hastily, and stretched his muscles. Looking at Rock Lee again, he has already started jogging. Rock Lee is indeed the hardest worker. Sasuke couldn't help but said. I don't have the talent like you, so I can only rely on hard work. Rock Lee scratched his head foolishly, showing his big white teeth. You are already number 1 in your grade. Sasuke said a little sourly. In the actual battle not long ago, Rock Lee succeeded in a blockbuster, defeating all kinds of peers, and quickly established the title of the strongest in his age. He even defeated Xiangning Qi on the first day, and successfully staged a scene where ordinary people can also counterattack geniuses by practicing physical skills. Under the influence of Naruto, Rock Lee did not wear a green tights like in the original book, showing his big white teeth from time to time. Instead, he began to imitate Naruto's wearing a white robe lined with a black tight-fitting battle suit, and threw the white robe into the sky every time he fought. But even so, Rock Lee has no little fans. Maybe something went wrong. Since meeting Naruto, Sasuke's motivation to train has grown day by day. In order to defeat Naruto, he asked Itachi about various ways to become stronger. Usually, he will also use the technique of multiple shadow clones to assist in his practice. But his recovery ability, chakra total and pain tolerance are not as good as Naruto, so at most he uses a shadow clone to assist his practice. And you need to rest for a few days after each use. This made Sasuke deeply realize that if he was ignorant of the drill, he would never be able to catch up with Naruto and Rock Lee. So with Itachi's help, Sasuke began to delve into ninjutsu and the changing nature of chakra. Progress has been slow, but at least some progress has been made. Everyone started their own practice, and Naruto sat cross-legged on the grass, closed his eyes, and placed the mirror flower and water moon in front of him. The spiritual pressure in the body boiled around, and Naruto also entered an ethereal realm. Sensing every bit of the air, and sensing the ninjas watching around. Naruto remembered what Aizen had said. The initial solution to Master Zanpakuto is just the beginning, and there will be stronger swastikas later. Moreover, there are close to 100 kinds of ghost ways, all of which require stronger control over the spiritual pressure. As far as the current situation is concerned, the power of the **** of death obviously gives him a greater increase than the power of the ninja. In order to have the power to protect himself, Naruto spends a lot of daily practice on the power of death. Sasuke on the side looked curiously at the dark green Kyoka Suigetsu. He once asked Naruto why he loves this knife so much, and he always takes it with him every time he travels. Naruto always had a meaningful smile on his face. You reading www.uakanshu.com. And say to yourself, when you can force me to use Shichi, you will know the power of this knife. Beginning to understand. What is that? With such doubts in mind, Sasuke kept working hard, hoping that one day he could test out Naruto's full strength. After becoming a student of the ninja school, Naruto's life has not changed much. He has been accumulating his own strength, and he hasn't even used it yet. And in the days that followed, Naruto and the students in the class were also familiar with each other. The big family Ikacho, Yamanaka Ino, Akamichi Choji and Nara Shikamaru are all his locked friends. The family behind them is the backbone of Konoha. Naruto is very optimistic about Nara Shikamaru. He knows that Nara Shikamaru has a high IQ and can often see the essence of things. Choji Akamichi is not bad either, although he is a bit gluttonous, but he is the type who treats friends with both sides. As for Ino Yamanaka, apart from being a little nympho, there is nothing wrong with him. What surprised Naruto was that Yamanaka Ino and Haruno Sakura seemed not interested in the warm-hearted guy like himself, but liked Sasuke's cold-faced guy who was always in a commotion when he couldn't get it. Every day when going to and from school, he will pester Sasuke and try his best to express himself. This gave Sasuke a headache. Once upon a time, he asked Naruto for help. But Naruto was eating melons happily. In the boring ninja school life, the emotional interest between immature boys and girls can be regarded as a good spice. Compared with Sasuke, Naruto, who always has a gentle face, like the big brother next door, is obviously more likely to be liked and trusted by his classmates. Chapter 29. Low Self-Esteem Girl. For the students, Naruto is a completely trustworthy partner. And everything Naruto did not live up to their trust. Someday, Naruto saw that Yamanaka Ino and Haruno Sakura had a complete breakdown because of Sasuke, and a fierce quarrel broke out. You have such a wide forehead. Angrily, Ino roared. Sakura's body trembled, her eyes filled with disbelief. Ino's words undoubtedly tore open her scar. All along, she felt inferior because of her wide forehead. It was Ino who appeared to appease her, and put a red ribbon on herself, making herself confident and cute again, and even dared to show her broad forehead. From that day on, they became inseparable girlfriends. But now, the light for Sakura has become the darkness that pushes her into the abyss. Wide forehead, hiss, so poisonous. But thinking about it carefully, Sakura's forehead seems to be. Listening to the discussion of the students around, Sakura burst into tears, threw the red ribbon that Ino gave her on the ground, and ran towards the outside of the classroom. And Ino regretted it after blurting it out. Don't mock your classmates maliciously, that's very impolite. Naruto stood up, changing his usual gentle appearance, with a serious expression. Under Naruto's accusation, the students also lowered their heads in embarrassment. I'm sorry. Ino said sadly. You shouldn't tell me, but you should tell Sakura. Naruto rubbed Ino's blonde hair, and his voice became gentle. Jealousy is the most elusive emotion, and it may make you lose a close friend. Good, cherish it, friendship is priceless. After saying this, Naruto picked up the red ribbon and walked out of the classroom. Ino was left with a regretful face. Sakura ran hard. She didn't know where her destination was, she just wanted to escape the classroom that made her feel uneasy and embarrassed. In the past, she was ridiculed by other children because of her wide forehead, so she became weak and inferior. It was the appearance of Ino that changed her and allowed her to regain her confidence. They study together and play together. Until Uchiha Sasuke appeared. Although Naruto is also very handsome, Sasuke's coldness fascinates them even more. Even though they were confronted with cold faces by Sasuke countless times, they seem to be suffering from masochism. In response to the sentence that you can't get it, you will always be in turmoil. What you can't get is the most fragrant. They have become Sasuke's diehard fans, and both of them are secretly competing, hoping to win Sasuke's heart. But now, her most trusted partner uncovered the dust-laden scars, making Sakura suffer the pain she had suffered in her childhood again. Wide forehead. For girls, the most important thing is appearance. At this moment, Sakura felt that the world had collapsed. She ran to the rooftop and hid in a corner, sobbing softly. Finally found you. At this moment, Naruto's warm voice sounded. Sakura raised her head, glanced at Naruto, then hurriedly lowered her head again, her body curled up in a corner, full of helplessness and humbleness. I must be ugly now that I am crying. Naruto sat down next to Sakura, looked at the sun in the clouds, and said softly, I was born alone. I was regarded as a fox by the villagers, a monster, and every time I went out, I was cursed. They called me a monster, scolding me why I didn't die, why I disgusted them. In fact, I obviously didn't do anything, but it's just because there is a demon fox sealed in my body. Naruto let out a self-deprecating smile. That demon fox once destroyed Konoha, and I became a container to seal him. Sakura stopped crying and listened quietly to what Naruto said. A girl's mind is often more delicate, and she can feel Naruto's pain. At the same time, she was also a little puzzled. Naruto, who sealed the demon fox, should be regarded as a hero, why is he cast aside by the villagers? Touched by the dusty truth, Sakura has a little sympathy for Naruto's current situation and dissatisfaction with Konoha. However, I have not changed. I have not become depressed or lost hope because of those malice. I have been training as always, enriching myself, facing the malice of life with a smile and optimism, accepting them, and changing them. And now, as you can see, my hard work has paid off, I have friends, and the villagers will not curse me like before. Although the process was difficult, at the moment of harvesting happiness, all hardships are over. Naruto's tone gradually became brighter, and he smiled brightly. In my opinion, Sakura, you already have happiness that I dare not expect. You have a caring family and a trusted partner. Naruto handed Sakura a handkerchief. Sakura awkwardly took the handkerchief, raised her head. Naruto smiled brightly under the sun. That warm smile seemed to be able to melt all ice. Sakura, you are actually very pretty. When I first saw you, I was attracted by your pink hair. In this season, it is also a kind of happiness to see pink like cherry blossoms. You don't lose to anyone, don't live in the eyes of others, be yourself. Confident Sakura is very attractive. Naruto gently tied the red ribbon on Sakura's head, said gently. Once, the best friend tied this red ribbon to Sakura's pink hair to bring her confidence. Now, the man with the ribbon is Naruto. Different people have different feelings. Feeling the warmth of Naruto's palm, Sakura froze in place, only feeling her heart beating violently, and her mind was full of Naruto's words, Shao Sakura, you are actually very pretty. Tears immediately filled the eyes. At that moment, she suddenly realized. I don't want a warm man, but I like the childish Sasuke. I am really blind. Thank you, Naruto. She clutched the handkerchief tightly, looking straight into Naruto's eyes seriously. Seeing the girl regain her former self-confidence, Naruto smiled and rubbed Sakura's head. Go back, everyone is waiting for you. Yeah. You reading www.uakanshu.com. Sakura nodded and followed Naruto towards the classroom. Inside the classroom, Naruto walked in with Sakura, and the students who laughed at Sakura also lowered their heads in shame. Ino hugged Sakura and sincerely apologized. I'm sorry, Sakura. The two whispered some whispers, and finally reconciled as before. Naruto, who returned to his position, immediately received Sasuke's condolences. I didn't expect you to waste time because of women. HMPH, you can just waste time like this. Then I will surpass you and everyone. I will be the one standing at the top. Tsunere face. Sasuke was excited, and looked more seriously at the ninja experience Itachi gave him. I dreamed of defeating Naruto, who was slack because of women, one day. Stepping on Naruto's face, he grinned wildly triumphantly. Naruto, you are too weak, run away, hate me, find a place to survive until you appear again with my power, then I will use stronger forces destroy your self-confidence. Sakura and Ino seemed to be getting closer. Obviously, he was still maliciously slandering the other party 1 second, but the next second was like glue. Friendship between women is sometimes so unpredictable. Ino glanced at Sasuke's direction, and said firstly, Sakura, I've thought about it carefully, we all like Sasuke, let's compete fairly, no matter who is in the position, we are good sisters for life. No, I don't like Sasuke anymore. Unexpectedly, Sakura shook her head. Under Ino's stunned gaze, she looked adoringly at the direction where Naruto was huddling, and whispered. I've found someone I really like. Ino. Chapter 30. Naruto vs. Sasuke. Life in ninja school is always so unpretentious. Naruto also thought about cutting classes, but in order to create a good student personality, he still made a good habit of not being late or leaving early every day. On this day, he came to the classroom to sit down as usual. Before her was hot, Sakura handed Naruto a cup of freshly squeezed juice, with a coy and shy expression. Naruto-kun, drinking some juice in the morning is good for your health. This is the 10th day that Sakura delivered breakfast drinks. Thank you, Sakura. Naruto took it, showing a gentle smile. There is no need to give it away in the future, and orange juice is not cheap. It's okay, it's okay. We have a lot of orange juice in our house, it's all leftovers, it's not right, it's all too much, and it's a waste if you don't drink it. Xiaoying explained in a panic, secretly annoyed at herself for saying the wrong thing. Obviously in the past, I was carefree, but when facing Naruto, I subconsciously became shy and unconfident. Okay, thank you then. Naruto accepted Sakura's kindness. During this period, he noticed a gaze and turned his head to look. It's Hinata girl with short purple hair, Hinata. Morning. He smiled gently at Hinata. The latter directly lowered his head, with water vapor rising from his head. At the first sight of Hinata, Naruto recognized her as the white-eyed girl who was rescued by him a few years ago. She is weak and kind-hearted, I don't know if she has changed now. I learned from Rock Lee that Hinata is the eldest daughter of the head of the Hyuga clan. Like Sasuke, he is a core figure in the clan. Naturally, sitting on a large amount of resources in the clan, the strength will definitely not be weak. Naruto looked away, waiting for Iruka's teaching. Everyone, today, we will conduct actual combat exercises. Iruka walked into the classroom and said gently. After the words fell, the classroom suddenly became noisy like boiling hot water. This will be their first official battle after entering the ninja school. Their eyes focused on Naruto and Sasuke. Looking forward to the performance of these two talents. Practice. I won the first place in the grade this time. Sasuke said with a frenzied arc on his mouth. Young eagles are fearless, because they don't know fear. Naruto smiled without changing his face. Actually, I've been thinking about this sentence for a long time. Sasuke broke his work in seconds, sighed, and then said seriously, Naruto, I will take off all the weight this time, so be careful. Sasuke wanted to be serious. But think about it, after Sasuke started training, they didn't seriously fight without leaving room. Naruto smiled and nodded. I'm looking forward to it. Don't be careless, maybe this time you will be forced by me to use the mirror. In the open space, under Iruka's instructions, a one-on-one battle is about to begin. The first pair to play were two mediocre students whose names even Naruto hadn't remembered yet. The two dragons entered the field and started a fierce hand-to-hand fight. Since the study in the ninja school has just started, they are not proficient in the use of kunai and shuriken. The battle was very ugly, and many students fell asleep. But Naruto watched with gusto. Next, Hinata vs. 10 Murakami. The battle of the Hyuga clan. Like many students, Naruto's spirits lifted. The Hyuga clan is good at jujitsu, and those white eyes are the same as our Uchiha's eyes, which are extremely rare blood-continuing boundaries. They can see the veins of the opponent's body and have extremely strong insight. Sasuke said softly. Compared to your Sharingan? Naruto asked curiously. Of course it can't be compared with Sharingan. Sasuke raised his head proudly. Although Hyuga and our Uchi are as famous as a wealthy family, in fact, the Hyuga clan does not have top-notch experts, and the ability of Bion is only insight, and the upper limit is completely inferior to Sharingan. Sasuke at this moment is like a proud peacock. What I said was somewhat private. Naruto thought to himself, looking quietly into the field. At this moment, Hinata was already fighting with the secondary students. Seeing Hinata put on a strange fighting posture, the whole eye turned blue and white, and the veins around the eyes burst out. Perhaps facing the Hyuga clan, Ten Murakami looked very nervous. It is difficult for ordinary civilians to defeat the rich and powerful, but if they succeed, they will definitely get a lot of attention. He picked up kunai and mustered up the courage to rush towards Hinata. The speed is very slow, it looks like a snail under my eyes. Sasuke commented. If the Hyuga clan can't even defend this kind of attack, it will disappoint me. Facing the opponent's attack, Hinata calmly responded calmly. Every punch and every style was full of charm. The action seems slow, but every time it can perfectly resolve the opponent's attack. This fight lasted for nearly a minute. Sasuke frowned suddenly. Is this the only skill of the Hyuga clan? I can knock down this kind of opponent with a single punch. This is Ryujin. Naruto looked at Hinata thoughtfully. Hyuga's soft fist can dissipate the opponent's strength, and even use it for his own use, thus playing a 4-2-2000 weight effect. Naruto said to himself, Hinata's body has hardly left that circle. Instead of being evenly matched, it might be better to say that Hinata is using Murakami to try out moves. This may be her first actual combat. Hearing this, Sasuke looked intently and found that Hinata used one foot as the axis, and only moved the other foot to respond to the attack. The soil around the body draws a small circle that is only big enough for one person because of the movement of the right foot. www.mtlnovel.com. Huh, the Hyuga clan still has some skills. Sasuke blushed and said coldly. Naruto looked pleased. Hinata got stronger. It didn't take long for Hinata to defeat Murakami 10, who was out of breath from exhaustion, but Hinata was calm, her face was not red and she was not panting. It's not a level of fighting, and the real strength is also hidden. Naruto commented. Next game, Uchiha Sasuke vs Uzumaki Naruto. After speaking, the scene was silent. There was an uproar in an instant. It's finally our time, come on, Naruto. Sasuke stood up vigorously, and the adoring eyes around him made him forget himself for a while. I will show you the power of these eyes. You haven't opened your eyes yet. Naruto could hardly complain. The biggest weakness of the Uchiha clan is this stupid arrogance. Arrogance can be a stumbling block to knock you down. Naruto walked into the arena with a gentle smile on his face, like a handsome young man. This style of painting was a bit inconsistent for a while. It's like a noble son visiting a ninja school. I've been waiting for a long time. The corner of Sasuke's mouth curled up in an evil way, which caused many girls to scream. He took out the kunai and put on a fighting pose. Let me see the genius of the Uchiha clan, I hope you can let me have fun. Naruto slowly closed his eyes. Everyone, including Sasuke, didn't understand why Naruto did this. But the next moment, they were shocked by Naruto's movement. Be it a student, Sasuke, or even Iruka. Chapter 31. Colorless Sky. I saw Naruto just standing there quietly, but the surrounding dust slowly drifted away as if he had lost gravity. A terrifying chakra wave emerged from Naruto's body, spreading outward continuously, rolling up a large cloud of dust, dancing around him. This chakra. Sasuke's eyes were horrified, and his body took a step back uncontrollably. Looking at Naruto again, all he saw was a chilling sense of oppression. This is an application of the combination of spiritual pressure and chakra. The combination of the two forms an oppression that is more terrifying than murderous aura. Within the range of oppression, it can completely suppress and lock the opponent's aura, and slow down the opponent's actions to a certain extent. This is just Naruto's initial use of Reiatsu and chakra, and it happened to use Sasuke as a testing stone. He showed a gentle but chilling smile to Sasuke. Are you ready to dance with the dust? Sasuke. As expected of you. Sasuke smiled coldly, and opened his clothes, revealing the heavy load inside. Bang! With an exclamation, he unloaded the load, and the heavy load smashed a small hole in the ground. As the body relaxed, the oppressive force seemed to have eased a lot. Has he been wearing weights to school? The students gasped. Even Iruka couldn't help but look sideways in shock. Is this the genius of Uchiha? Genius. Sasuke snorted coldly. I did it with all my might. Don't use the word genius to obliterate my hard work. Shadow clone technique. 4 Sasukes appeared in the field in an instant, attacking and killing Naruto from 4 directions, front, back, left, and right. Sasuke's speed was so fast that it passed by in the eyes of the students. One of the clones threw several shurikens at Naruto. Another avatar used a fireball. The fireball this time is several times more powerful than the one a year ago. Although the students were all watching the battle from a distance, they seemed to feel the heat of the Hao fireball that could burn the distorted air. The Uchiha clan's fire escape and shuriken throwing are both very good. Such a fast speed, plus shuriken and fire escape, is indeed a genius of the Uchiha clan. Iruka was shocked. He turned out to be the teacher of this genius monster. A figure appeared in Iruka's mind. Uchiha Itachi, Konoha's famous genius. He graduated from ninja school at the age of 8 and joined Konoha Onbi. Now his strength is unfathomable. At this moment, Sasuke and Itachi drew an equal sign. Perhaps Sasuke's talent is not inferior to Itachi's. Iruka couldn't help but sigh. The Uchiha clan is really full of talents. Naruto, how to deal with it? Boom. Suddenly Naruto's aura soared, and the surrounding dust flew up, disappearing in front of everyone in an instant. Shunpo, through the high-speed pace and the control of Reiatsu, makes others have the illusion of teleportation. After hard training, Naruto already has the basic conditions to learn Shunpo, and has successfully practiced Shunpo. He walked behind a shadow clone in an instant, punched out, and the shadow clone was directly blown away. One-hit kill. The figures of the remaining 3 Sasuke did not stagnate in any way, and they reacted extremely quickly, forming a momentum of encirclement and suppression again. Sometimes throwing shuriken, sometimes fighting in close quarters, and occasionally harassing with fireballs from a distance, the cooperation is perfect. Naruto, however, wandered in the dizzying battle like a leisurely garden. Flickering sideways, Shunbu counterattacks are all at your fingertips. All the attacks were perfectly dodged by him, just right, with no extra moves and no extra space. Naruto was dodging all attacks with the least amount of physical exertion. It doesn't look like a fight, but at first glance it looks like a dancing dancer. So elegant. Naruto-kun's physical skills are far superior to Sasuke's. A student swallowed and murmured. In a short while, Sasuke's shadow clones have been completely eliminated, leaving only the main body. Iruka stared dumbfounded. Trying to substitute yourself, but find that it may be very difficult for you to win, and you may even lose. Hey, my 2 students are too scary. Sasuke was slightly out of breath, staring at Naruto closely. Sure enough, Naruto's strength is even more unfathomable than I thought. Not to mention the beginning of the solution, he didn't even take off the weight. Sure enough, is it still not enough? In this case, Sasuke raised his head, his eyes suddenly turned red, and a black jade slowly flowed, then use these eyes to defeat you. Sharingan. When did you open your eyes? Naruto froze for a moment, happy for Sasuke. The eyes of the Uchiha clan need to go through life and death experience, or when they are emotional, they can successfully open their eyes. Generally, there is only one hook jade at the beginning of the eye, and the number of hook jade can be increased through subsequent efforts, and the ability to write sharing eyes will also be enhanced. But what ability does a hook jade have? Naruto was curious. I see clearly, in front of my eyes, you have nothing to hide. After opening his eyes, the corners of Sasuke's mouth evoked an evil charm. You're slowing down, Naruto. No, it's my eyes that see everything. I've seen through you. Sasuke and Naruto fight together. Sasuke performed all the physical skills he had learned in the past smoothly. On the contrary, Naruto's white strikes also completely defended against every blow, but it was not as smooth as before. Naruto understood that this might be the limit of himself wearing heavy weights. Now I am qualified to let you use Hajime. Sasuke had an excited expression on his face. As you wish. Naruto followed suit and withdrew from the battlefield, and the shadow clone who was training before handed the Zanpakuto to Naruto in time. Naruto caressed the flowers in the mirror and the moon in the water. Yu reading www.uakanshu.com. I solemn. Since you want to see it so much, then, be careful. I saw the dark green Reiatsu rushing up from the mirror flowers and water moon, lingering around Naruto's body. Break it, mirror flower water moon. The mirror flower in his hand fell to the ground, stuck on the ground, and then shattered like a mirror, melting into the air. Everyone just felt a blur in front of their eyes, rubbed their eyes, everything was as usual, but the dark green knife in Naruto's hand had disappeared. What's going on here? Everyone was at a loss. This is Shikai. Sasuke asked confusedly. Good. Naruto smiled. It doesn't look like anything special, and the knife is gone. Sasuke murmured to himself suspiciously, but his eyes became sharp immediately, and he leaned towards Naruto, holding up the kunai thorn. If it's just that, then I won this battle. PFF'd. The next moment, while exclaiming, kunai plunged straight into Naruto's chest. However, there was no blood, and Naruto had no painful expression on his face. Stabbed. No, no. Sasuke's pupils shrank suddenly, and a huge pain came from his body. A dark green knife pierced through his abdomen. Sasuke looked up at Naruto with disbelief in his eyes. The other party had a gentle smile and calm eyes. What's going on here? My eyes. Sasuke muttered to himself, feeling dizzy in his brain. The sky is actually colorless. It didn't deceive you, but your eyes deceived yourself. Before coma, Sasuke heard Naruto's gentle voice. Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audiobook YouTube channel Chapter 32, Looking Through the Looking Glass and the Moon in the Water. Mirror Flower Water Moon, the strongest Zanpakuto of the Illusion Department. Ability, completely dominate the opponent's 5 senses, whether it is appearance, shape, quality, touch, or even smell, can be played with applause. The most frightening thing is that as long as you have seen Hajime of Kyoka Suigetsu once, the opponent's 5 senses will be played by Naruto forever. Only the flower in the mirror and the moon in the water are not invincible. It is difficult for him to control chakra and spiritual pressure, which is far better than his own master. At the same time, the consumption of manipulating the 5 senses is huge. Before gaining enough strength, Naruto couldn't use Kyoka Shuijutsu for a long time. But manipulating Sasuke's new 5 senses is still easy. This is Naruto's initial understanding of flowers in the mirror and water moon. He can choose to hide the mirror all the time. However, considering Konoha's monitoring of himself and the character design that has been operating in the heart of the 3rd generation, he still decided to expose his blood succession limit, which is beneficial to the future layout. In the Konoha training ground, Naruto held the mirror flower and water moon and began to practice the chopping technique day after day. Today's battle with Sasuke gave him a deeper understanding of Kyoka Shuijutsu. Ability is indeed perverted, but not invincible. At least at this stage, Naruto's chakra and Reiatsu are not strong enough, and he cannot rely too much on Kyoka Suigetsu, and needs to develop chopping techniques, ghost ways, and ninjutsu. Illusion, it seems good. Recalling the details of today's battle, Naruto laughed softly. In the previous battle, Sasuke, who was stabbed by himself, fell into a coma due to the severe pain, and finally Naruto became the first genius of the great as it should be. The Uchiha genius with Sharingan was defeated by Naruto. This shocking news spread quickly throughout the ninja school, and even alarmed Konoha's senior management. The disappearing knife, the mysterious blood succession boundary. The 3 generations who understood the process were shocked, surprised, but more afraid. He will not question Naruto's will of fire, but this mysterious blood succession boundary will undoubtedly become a breakthrough for Danzo to attack. Haizan, did you hear? Naruto awakened the incredible blood successor limit. Hand him over to our roots, and I will train him well. Although Danzo arrived late, his eyes were full of greed. For Ninja Village, Shueiji boundary is the cornerstone of the village's combat power. Every rare blood successor limit can play a terrifying performance on the battlefield. Konoha's Mudden, Sharingan, Bian, and the illusion of the Kurama clan. Other ninja villages are Shigumai, Bingdun and so on. For Ninja Village, blood succession boundary is indispensable and cannot be extravagant. Every ninja who awakens the rare blood succession limit is a rare resource. Blood succession boundaries are mostly inherited, but the possibility of variation cannot be ruled out. Neither of Naruto's parents showed a blood succession limit similar to that of Jinghua Shueyu, so his blood succession limit is likely to be a variation, which has great research value for the root. If Naruto joins the roots, he must face brainwashing plus reproduction. Danzo will definitely mass produce this kind of blood inheritance limit by all means, and control it in his hands. For the 3rd generation, Naruto is currently growing up according to his own plan, meeting new friends at the ninja school, and will also form bonds. These are one of the factors that bound him to Konoha. It is a good thing to awaken the blood inheritance limit. In the future, when Naruto gets married and has children, the children will also inherit the blood succession boundary, and Konoha can also add a 3-generation subsidiary family. Everything about Naruto has been planned by the third generation. So naturally he would not hand over Naruto like this. He suddenly remembered that one day Naruto asked himself nervously, grandfather of the third generation, if a person from Konoha awakens a strange ability, is he still a person from Konoha? At that time, I smiled and replied, you are talking about the blood succession limit, right? For a ninja, the power he possesses is just a tool to carry out his beliefs. As long as he inherits the will of fire, no matter how strange his ability is awakened, he will always be a part of Konoha. After hearing this sentence, Sandai obviously felt that Naruto seemed to be relieved. At first he thought Naruto had discovered the 9 tails inside him. Now it seems. Maybe at that time he had already awakened the blood succession limit. This child, even if he awakened the blood successor limit, he didn't dare to show it, was he afraid that he would leave Konoha because of it? 3 generations chuckled in their hearts, and roughly had a guess. But this conjecture still needs to be verified by itself. I have tailored a series of growth plans for Naruto, and everything is under control now. With his hands behind his back, he looked at the slowly setting sun, his tone full of sighs. Minato dedicated himself to Konoha, and now, the gift he left behind, Naruto also shines, he will be our hope for Konoha. Don't forget. Sandai turned around, only to find that the office was empty. Where is this? Sasuke woke up slowly, seeing the white ceiling and the smell of hospital disinfectant at the tip of his nose. Sasuke, you're awake. Her mother's gentle and concerned voice sounded in her ear. Kasan. Sasuke wanted to get up, but there was a sharp pain in his abdomen. Don't move around, the injury is still not healed. Mikan hurriedly stopped Sasuke, helped Sasuke to lie down again, covered the quilt, and complained, Naruto is also true, it doesn't matter how serious you are. Did I lose? Sasuke lay on the hospital bed, www.mtlnovel.com, stared at the ceiling and was stunned. Unexpectedly, I lost so ugly when I opened Sharingan. It's not even clear how he lost. The memory stays in the phrase, the sky is actually colorless. It doesn't deceive you, but your eyes deceive yourself. Mikan was still complaining over there. That kid Naruto looks very mature and stable, why is the attack so heavy this time? No, Kasan, Naruto is telling me not to rely too much on my eyes. Sasuke suddenly interrupted Makoto's complaint, with a smile of enlightenment on his face, and pointed to his own eyes. Mirror flowers and water moon. Flowing water is blood continuing boundary, which disturbs the enemy's vision through the reflection of fog and water flow, thus creating an illusion. This can be regarded as water escape. At night, Sandai walked out of Naruto's house. Just now, he learned about Naruto's blood succession limit in detail and experienced it. This is a good blood succession limit, but the effect is inseparable from chakra. It can be said that it is tailor-made for Naruto. It's just that there are also fatal flaws, just disturbing the vision is too limited. From the current point of view, there is still potential for blood succession boundary. Let's see Naruto's future development. The initially awakened blood succession boundary can disturb the vision, and it may disturb other senses in the later stage. The overall potential is not bad. It seems that Naruto has the potential to become an illusion ninja. The third generation muttered to himself. It's just that the third generation didn't know that Naruto concealed Kyoka Suigetsu's true ability. This is a terrifying Zanpakuto that can manipulate the 5 senses. Chapter 33. Self-Belief. Let's start the layout from now on. Back home, Naruto opened the book and read it carefully, but his thoughts had drifted away. Everything today has been carefully considered by him. He is confident that the Konoha executives headed by the third generation will not have all kinds of thoughts that violate ethics and morality because of the blood inheritance limit he exposed. In the past few years, Naruto has painstakingly managed the character design of the Will of Fire, studying hard every day, and trying to help the villagers every day. Although he often wins cold eyes, this perseverance is seen by the third generation. Non-vegetation, ruthless practice makes perfect. No matter how cold-hearted these people in power are, their judgment will be influenced by their own feelings. This is why formalism is so important. Naruto had seen the system of a nation from worldly knowledge. Fair and just. But formalism is everywhere. The so-called formalism is to show what the leaders and the people want to see, so as to move everyone and move themselves. That is, as the saying goes, putting on a show. That's what Naruto is doing now. Use your will of fire to move the 3 generations, and even move yourself. No matter how deep the misunderstanding of the villagers is, they are still full of love for Konoha, eager to ignite themselves and dedicate themselves. A single spark can start a prairie fire, and you will eventually turn into sparks. Let the will of fire ignite the leaves. It turns out that formalism has succeeded. In the eyes of the 3rd generation, he has been successfully brainwashed. At this time, it is a bonus to show a certain talent. Naruto chooses to expose his inconsistency. One is that in the eyes of others, it can only be regarded as the blood succession boundary of the illusion department. Disrupting the sight through the refraction of water and light is not even an illusion, but an illusion at most. Although this kind of blood succession limit does not sound high-end, it is very powerful in actual combat. The 3rd generation will definitely look forward to this blood succession limit. I hope to see myself fully develop the mirror, and then I will become Konoha's sharpest knife. Secondly, people who have seen the first solution of the mirror will enter the hypnotic state permanently. With the use of Naruto's Reiatsu and his own chakra, it is easy to hypnotize those who are not even students. Perhaps it was an arrangement of 3 generations. Among the students in this class, there are many geniuses from big families. Nara Shikamaru, Akamichi Choji, Uchiha Sasuke, Hinata, they may all grow up to be Jonin in the future, and even surpass Jonin powerhouses. It is absolutely foolproof to let them fall into the trap from now on. This is the layout that Naruto has planned for a long time. Naruto put down the book, washed up briefly, and fell asleep. Tick-tock. The familiar sound of dripping water sounded. Naruto woke up, and the goal was the blue sky. The cold wind was bleak and icy, and every breath I exhaled seemed to freeze instantly. Light snow drifted finely in the sky, embellishing the cliff with a touch of white. Naruto got up, and the howling wind around him made his white robe rustle, and the cliff above the abyss was under his feet, and he would fall into the abyss if he was not careful. The depth below makes people fear from the bottom of their hearts. This is the sealed space where Aizen is located. It's been a long time since I've been here. Naruto murmured, looking towards the highest point of the cliff. As expected, a figure sat quietly on the top. No matter how violent the wind was, he remained motionless. Mr. Aizen. Naruto walked up to Aizen and greeted him respectfully. Lan Ran opened his eyes, watched the ice and snow fall and melt on the cliff in front of him, and couldn't help sighing. It's not bad to see such a beautiful scenery of ice and snow in such a steep place. He raised his head and looked at Naruto lightly, with a gentle tone. Naruto, long time no see. Yeah, it's been a long time, Mr. Aizen, and now I have mastered the basic understanding of the mirror, the water and the moon, and the elementary way of ghosts. Really, time flies so fast. Aizen's eyes were blurred, as if thinking about something. Naruto's talent is astonishing. In just a few years, he has achieved a practice that other gods of death may not be able to complete in 100 years. Perhaps this is the infinite possibility of human existence. In the research of Reaper and Shu, Aizen discovered that human beings who are regarded as prey by Shu and weak by Reaper actually have potential that ordinary people cannot ignore. Whether it is Naruto in the ninja world, or Kurosaki Ichigo in the world of death, they are also special. Thinking of this, Aizen glanced at Naruto. The latter's outfit and smile are so similar to his own, it seems to be carved out of the same mold. In the past, Aizen wouldn't say anything, but now, he is completely full of expectations for Naruto's future, and the requirements for him will naturally be different. Naruto, have you thought about your goals? He asked. The goal? Of course it is to have the power to transcend everything, transcend the world, and stand in the sky. Naruto said as a matter of course. Standing in the sky. Lan Ran fell into contemplation for a long time, and suddenly asked, have you ever thought about it, is that your goal or mine? Naruto froze on the spot, a look of astonishment appeared on his face. He recalled Aizen's teachings all along. From it, he learned about Aizen's goal and Aizen's pattern, and worshipped it. Hoped to become a person like Aizen, so Naruto began to deliberately imitate. It was a little rusty at first, but gradually became more proficient. Yuyu reading www.uakanshu.com sometimes even regards itself as Aizen. Now I only see my shadow in you. Aizen's gentle voice sounded in my ears. Naruto, your talent is very good, you should have your own beliefs, then you are qualified to be my opponent. Leaving the sealed space, Naruto couldn't sleep. Get up and look at the starry night sky through the window. Konoha is so silent under the night sky, but there are many ninja chakra reactions around his hut. Sometimes they hibernate in the dense leaves of big trees, and sometimes hide by the house. But no matter what their posture was, they didn't fall asleep, and they were still waiting hard. There will be no other ninja shifts until late at night. Their mission is not so much surveillance as protection. Naruto, as the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, is Konoha's most important war resource and must be well protected. This is ninja. Naruto drew the curtains. I suddenly feel disgusted in my heart. Also a little confused. What is your own path? Become a ninja. Concealment, assassination, these are the daily routines of ninjas. But honestly, he has little interest in being a ninja. He only wants his future self to not be bound by Konoha anymore, to be able to do whatever he wants, to improve the structure, and to see the essence clearly. The world is big and I want to see it. Thinking of this, he suddenly became enlightened. This is his goal. This time it was no longer deliberately imitating Aizen. Instead, I sincerely want to surpass everything, have the power to surpass the ninja world, control my own destiny, and stand in the sky. Chapter 34. Visiting Sasuke, younger brother controlling Itachi. On the second day, Naruto put on the casual clothes he had never worn before and went to the ninja school wearing glasses. Different from the past, there is a little more fireworks. Naruto's new attire did attract some attention. These villagers were curious why Naruto suddenly changed his outfit. Naruto, who has figured everything out, no longer sticks to various imitations, but wants to be himself wholeheartedly. Under the influence and teaching of Aizen, he has similar goals and ideas, but he is not a copy of Aizen, but Naruto Uzumaki with flesh and blood. When he came to the ninja school, Naruto's dress immediately attracted the attention of the students. Naruto, why are you dressed so casually today? Yamanaka Ino greeted carelessly, and pulled Sakura closer. Since reconciling with Haruno Sakura, she has started to do her best to give Sakura assists. Naruto-kun, your outfit looks good too. Xiao Sakura blushed slightly and offered orange juice. Thank you. Naruto took the orange juice, noticed the bow on Sakura's head, and immediately praised, this red bow is very interesting, it matches your pink color very well. After finishing speaking, he walked towards his seat, completely oblivious to the fact that the girl behind her was flushed, celebrating today's victory with her best friend. Sasuke didn't come to school, the injury is still not healed. Naruto looked away and decided to visit Sasuke after school. After finally surviving school, Naruto and Rock Lee walked towards the ninja school together. Naruto, I heard that you have become the number one in your age, and you have also shown a brand new limit of the blood succession, a mirror image. On the way, Rock Lee said excitedly, it seems that Sasuke's training is still fruitful, he actually forced you it used the magic trick. I heard them say that it is the blood succession boundary that can create illusions, is it an illusion? Yes, you can understand it as a weak illusion, and there are still some differences from the real illusion, but the practicality in battle is no less than illusion. See Gui, I really want to see you. If it's Xiao Li, I think it might be possible to crack it. Naruto smiled gently. Haha, Naruto, stop comforting me, illusion is my nemesis. Xiao Li, who is good at physical skills and has no resistance to illusions at all, only has the word, free, when facing the mirror, and he can't make waves at all. The two chatted while walking, and soon came to Muye Hospital. As expected of a wealthy family, Uchiha even arranged VIP rooms. Along the long corridor, Naruto and Rock Lee found the ward where Sasuke was. Knock on the door, open the door and enter, and see a gentleman holding a peeled apple and handing it to Sasuke's mouth. Sasuke looked happy and was about to open his mouth, but turned his head hastily when he saw Naruto and Rock Lee. Ahem, here you are, Nissan, they are the Naruto and Rock Lee I always tell you about. Nissan. This man is Uchiha's genius, Uchiha Itachi. Naruto narrowed his eyes, trying to use Reiatsu to describe Uchiha Itachi's chakra. But he was shocked to find that the Uchiha Itachi, who looked like only a teenager, actually had a huge amount of chakra in his body, which was unfathomable and bottomless. Naruto's body tightened, and a kind of fear was spontaneously born in his heart. That was his innate perception. Reiatsu was telling him that the man in front of him was very strong. Hi, I'm Sasuke's brother, Itachi Uchiha. Itachi turned his head and looked at Naruto and Rock Lee gently. I've heard Sasuke mention it many times, and you have been training with him, thank you for your kindness to Sasuke. Take care. Itachi glanced over Naruto and Rock Lee, and stayed on Naruto for a few seconds, but there was a sudden murderous intent in his gentle eyes. Naruto, who is extremely sensitive to killing intent, just feels as if he is in an ice cave. While feeling appalled, there is also resentment. Sure enough, the current self is still far from the top powerhouse. It's just that combat training is not a battle to the death, you have to be a little bit measured. Itachi's next words hinted at it, and Sasuke on the side hurriedly stopped it. Nissan, I've said it all. I let Naruto use Kyoka Suigetsu. I want to see how far I am from him. Moreover, I have gained a lot from this battle. If you are fighting with your hands tied, the battle is meaningless, gone. Hearing Sasuke's words, Itachi's tone softened a lot, and he apologized to Naruto. I'm sorry Naruto, I was just too nervous, Sasuke has never been injured since he was a child. It's okay, I did hit a little harder this time, and I haven't fully grasped my ability. Naruto scratched his head embarrassingly, acting like a shy boy at this moment. Naruto has heard countless versions of Itachi Uchiha from Sasuke, and without exception they are gentle and kind people who will not hurt others. But as the saying goes, seeing is believing, Naruto understands only after he truly feels Uchiha Itachi's murderous aura. Uchiha Itachi is an Anbu ninja, his hands must be covered with blood, how could such decisive kindness be directed at such insignificant people as himself? All he cares about is his family. If he threatened his family, he would definitely bear his wrath. Although Uchiha Itachi has put away his murderous aura, Naruto's vigilance against Uchiha Itachi has been fully raised, and he even wants to escape here directly. He clearly understands that he is still in the stage of wretched development. It's okay to bully a kid like Sasuke, but it's a gift to a real strong man. But judging by Sasuke's excited look, he must be in a panic in the hospital and can't wait to chat with someone. So Naruto and Rock Lee chatted with Sasuke and Itachi Uchiha. Period. Naruto also learned that Itachi came to visit Sasuke just after finishing his work in Onbi, and even fed him himself. In Itachi's eyes, Sasuke, who was wounded in the abdomen, couldn't move at all and had to lie down and recuperate. This made Sasuke very helpless. Naruto avoided the fatal parts even though he suffered only minor injuries. Reading www.uakanshu.com. Coupled with the treatment of medical ninjutsu, in fact Sasuke can go to the ground now. But under Uchiha Itachi's strong request, Sasuke could only stay in bed and accept Itachi's feeding of love. This Uchiha Itachi is the younger brother. Naruto labeled Uchiha in his heart. It seems that Sasuke will be abused lightly in the future, otherwise it may be worn by Itachi. Sasuke showed his admiration for Itachi in his words. In his small world, Itachi is Konoha's first genius, and he will follow in the footsteps of his brother and become the second genius. After speaking, the two brothers looked at each other and smiled, showing their affection. Brother control and brother control, it's really scary. Both of them were labeled by Naruto. Naruto was suddenly a little curious. If Uchiha Itachi did something unacceptable to Sasuke in the future, it would completely destroy Sasuke's immature worldview. But just think about it. Looking at the love of the two brothers, I believe they will always grow old together. Naruto chuckled, putting his unrealistic fantasies behind him. Walking out of Konoha Hospital, Naruto and Rock Lee went to Ichiraku Ramen together. That's Naruto's favorite shop. Where to eat is not only delicious, but also has a human touch that cannot be found in other places. And Itachi quietly watched Naruto's leaving back outside the window with deep eyes. Nissan, Naruto's talent is really high, he is very strong, but I will definitely catch up with him. Sasuke's immature voice sounded behind him. Itachi turned around, showing a gentle smile. Sasuke, your talent is not inferior to him, you will definitely surpass Naruto. Yeah. Sasuke nodded vigorously, with a confident smile on his face. Chapter 35. Back to the sealed space. Leaves at night. Some people enjoy the joy of family reunion like Sasuke, and some people are performing tasks with hands. There are also people who stay at home alone like Naruto, thinking quietly. He holds the books in both hands, but his mind has already drifted thousands of miles away. Uchiha clan, Konoha wealthy family. Blood successor gender Sharingan can copy the ninjutsu of the victim, and at the same time understand the opponent's attack. In addition to Shueiji boundary, Uchiha's fire escape is also extremely brilliant. Got it from Sasuke. Sharingan has greatly increased Uchiha's ability, and every time Guyu in his eyes has an additional Sharingan, his ability will be improved unprecedentedly. Originally, Naruto was still complacent about his improvement in strength. But after experiencing the terrifying strength of Uchiha Itachi, he walked out of the illusion he had woven. He is still the weak Uzumaki Naruto, and it is still difficult for him to survive in the Konoha. One wrong step and all is lost. He doesn't have a wealthy background like Uchiha. Once he loses, he will lose his life. He can't afford it. According to Sasuke, Itachi is 5 years older than him. That is, Itachi, who is only 11 years old, already has a strength that cannot be ignored. How many such geniuses are there in Anbu? Not many, but definitely there. From this point of view, Konoha's strength is really not simple. Obtaining the trust of the 3 generations by oneself is not everything, it is only the first step. Next, I need to get more information about Konoha. Only by knowing yourself and the enemy can you be invincible in 100 battles. Naruto found that his past self imitated Aizen, and his heart became aloof, but at the same time he did not have the matching strength. This is arrogance. After thinking through all this, Naruto straightened his mind. Wretched development, don't waste it. At the same time, lay out slowly, and don't reveal any flaws. Otherwise, when Naruto thought of Itachi's oppressive power, he felt extremely apprehensive. This is not a game, it cannot be revived. The road to the clouds is doomed to be full of thorns. Tick-tock. At night, the sound of water dripping from the sealed space resounded. Naruto opened his eyes, stood up, and walked towards the door with ease. Inside the iron gate, Kyuubi is sitting in front of the computer playing Plants vs. Zombies. He stared at the computer intently. Even if Naruto approached, there was no response. Looking at this 9-tailed fox, who was about the same height as him, not vicious at all, and even a bit cute, Naruto fell into deep thought instead. The past self regarded Kyuubi as a beast without IQ, and disdained to communicate with him. If it wasn't for the stability of chakra, he wouldn't have any intersection with it. But think about it. From the beginning of Konoha's establishment to the present, no matter Konoha's top combat power changes due to era or war, Kyuubi has always been there. Changing the so-called containers, venting his anger, and even playing tricks that seem crude. As a result, the first Hokage, the **** of Ninja World, died, Uchiha Madara, who was as famous as him, died, and later the second and fourth Hokage also died. But Kyuubi is still alive. Konoha hated 9 tails, but had to need 9 tails. From the point of view of freedom, Kyuubi is very miserable, he has been imprisoned for nearly 100 years. But from another point of view, as long as he will kill all those who are malicious to him, he will be the winner in the end. And every time he changes the container, he can use chakra to make the opponent run away. For him, this is a way to gain freedom, and it is not a pastime for the long prison life. To Kyuubi, I believe that I am just a passerby in a long life. Naruto sat down in front of the iron gate, this time seeing Kyuubi as his equal. Long time no see, 9 tails. He said gently. Kyuubi glanced at Naruto, and there was a difference in his eyes. Little ghost, why are you so polite today? You don't need to pretend here. I have to apologize to you for my previous arrogance. Naruto stood up and said to Kyuubi very solemnly. Quote? Ninetales raised a question mark, feeling a little flustered in his heart. I always feel that Naruto is trying to play some tricks again. Little ghost, what's wrong with you? Juwei suddenly felt a little restless. He has seen the polite Naruto from Naruto's perspective, very refined and sincere, but Kyuubi, who knows the truth, naturally knows that it is a disguise. Kyuubi is also used to Naruto treating himself with his nature. After all, they all use each other. Now, seeing Naruto's elegant appearance, Kyuubi panicked for some reason. Could it be that Nine-Tails was brainwashed by the roots and changed his mind? Or was it controlled by Sharingan? Nine-Tails couldn't figure it out. Naruto chuckled, I just figured it out. Huh. Juwei put down the mouse and became interested. Naruto looked at Kyuubi and sighed, I just realized my own weakness, and once again understood the difficulty of my situation. Now I am like a tiny existence trying to shake the tree. After all, Konoha has nearly 100 years of foundation. No matter how outstanding my talent is, it is not easy to get rid of it completely. I have not yet transcended the world, and I have never possessed enough power. A fool thinks he is smart, but a wise man knows himself. I don't want to be a fool. So, Kyuubi, I need your help. Naruto looked at Kyuubi sincerely. You provide me with information, and I will provide you with fun, and let you witness the beauty of Konoha being subverted. After all, we are sitting on the same boat. Seeing Naruto's sincere expression, Kyuubi got up from the gaming chair, and his figure returned to the original Dashin's figure. With a fierce face, www.mtlnovel.com, raised his head and laughed. Interesting, kid, it seems that you have figured it out. Very good, interesting, you are the most interesting Jinchuriku I have ever seen. Yes, you are right, we are on the same boat. Although you are just a container, you can change it at any time if it breaks, but I don't want your interesting container to die. I accept your proposal and I can give you strength, chakra that is enough to make Konoha fear. No, what I need is not only chakra. Naruto shook his head. I want all kinds of information about Konoha, even my background, the Uzumaki clan. Naruto's eyes were deep, makes people shudder. All along, Naruto has been looking for information about the Uzumaki clan. From various books and unofficial history, he learned that the sealing technique of the Uzumaki family is well known in the ninja world, and even established a wealthy family in the Uzumaki kingdom. But before the Second Ninja World War, the country was subjugated and the village was destroyed. As for himself, how was the boy with Uzumaki's surname born in Konoha, and who was his mother or father? Naruto also secretly tried to find out if Konoha had the Uzumaki clan, but the information he got was that he was the only surviving Uzumaki clan. The sealing technique of the Uzumaki family can seal the tail beast, so it can be guessed. Nine-Tails was sealed inside his body by his parents. Hearing the question, Kyuubi chuckled lightly, revealing a smirk. Maybe you don't need to listen to me answer this question yourself. Kyuubi clearly understands that the fourth Hokage Namikaze Minato has a benevolent and kind personality. Before the seal, he considered that Naruto was too young and might be bewitched by him, so he would probably hold back. Naruto, you can try to tear the seal, maybe you will be pleasantly surprised. Kyuubi smiled strangely. Chapter 36, Namikaze Minato. Kyuubi is sealed, but not stupid. After being sealed, he had a lot of time to think. Fourth Hokage. Hokage, the first civilian born in history. Succeeded shortly after the end of the Third Ninja War. Because he often wins with speed in battle, his superb flying thunder god technique makes his figure difficult to capture, active on the battlefield like a bolt of lightning. Known as Yellow Flash in the ninja world. In the eyes of the third generation, he is a perfect disciple who has a gentle personality and inherits the will of fire. In the eyes of Master Jiraiya, he is a genius apprentice with superb ninjutsu and excellent fighting awareness. Both the villagers and even the enemies praised him. His smile was as bright as the sun. He is the perfect Hokage, the perfect father. But it cannot be ignored. He is also a ninja. A ninja who came out of the battlefield with blood on his hands. His gentleness and kindness are always only for his own people. Kyuubi understands that the distribution of various forces in Konoha is intricate, and to be able to become Hokage, the fourth generation must be meticulous and have a certain city. For Konoha, he is an enemy and a weapon to deter other ninja villages. It is not the fourth generation's style to rashly seal themselves in a baby's body. He will definitely deploy many backhands. That's why Kyuubi asked Naruto to try to tear off the seal. At that time, the backhand left by the fourth generation will be exposed. Kyuubi is very curious about what the fourth generation, who has always been gentle with others, will do in the seal. Looking at your answer, my parents should be the ones who sealed you. Hearing Kyuubi's answer, Naruto's guess was somewhat confirmed. That's right, you can try to remove the seal, he will definitely have a backup, maybe you can meet each other. Ninetales said with a smirk. But Naruto suddenly chuckled. There are not many Uzumaki clans in Konoha, so to seal you naturally requires an extremely powerful sealing technique. The first Ninetales Jinchuriki is the wife of the first Hokage, Uzumaki Mito. If she can become the wife of the first Hokage, her sealing technique is naturally powerful. I don't know about the second Ninetales Jinchuriki, and I can't find anything about it. Information, and no one has informed. But I noticed that the wife of the much-loved fourth Hokage Namikaze Minato is named Uzumaki Kushina. Naruto looked at Kyuubi's confused eyes, smiled at the corner of his mouth, and continued on his own. I was wondering a long time ago that there is no Uzumaki in Konoha. The only thing I can find is information about Uzumaki Kushina and Uzumaki Mito. The Uzumaki clan with a powerful sealing technique was wiped out, and Konoha took in the remaining Uzumaki clan. But until now, I am the only Uzumaki clan that survived. The 4 generations of couples died in battle on the night of Kyuubi, and Kyuubi was also suppressed there. No one knows whether Kyuubi was killed or sealed, but since that day, Konoha has been regarded as more the baby of the nine-tailed demon fox. Speaking of this, Naruto's mouth became more playful. He inherited the surname of Uzumaki. What's more interesting is that he has the same blonde hair and sunny appearance as the fourth Hokage. Naruto raised his bangs slightly and took off his glasses. At a certain moment, his appearance overlapped with that of the fourth generation. Hiss. Kyuubi swallowed, looking at Naruto with even more shocked eyes, and a guess emerged in his heart. No way. This kid can't analyze these by himself. Impossible. This kid is too smart, right? Naruto put back his glasses and said slowly. Calculating carefully, I was born in the year when Nine Tails went berserk. I have a face very similar to that of the fourth generation, and I have the same surname of Uzumaki as the wife of the fourth generation. How can there be so many coincidences in the world, and the fusion of many coincidences is a fact? It's not so much that I came to this conclusion now, it's more that I'm just now beginning to accept this fact. 6 years ago during the Nine Tails Rebellion, the fourth generation died in battle. At the same time, there was an extra baby who sealed Nine Tails. If I guessed correctly, they sealed you into my body before they died. They hoped that I would live on as the son of a hero, respected by the villagers. But why did I become the despised nine-tailed demon fox? Naruto still smiled, as if explaining in the tone of a passerby. But the calmer he was, the more panic Nine Tails felt. Ahem, brat, don't laugh and talk, it's a bit weird. Nine Tails swallowed, feeling a little creepy in his heart. If I'm not mistaken, Konoha's high-level officials tampered with the facts and let me bear malice so that they can control me. Naruto's mouth curled up in a sarcasm, and he turned his head to look at Jieke and said. The will of fire, the old leaves turn into fire, inspiring and warming the younger generation. But now, the new leaves have become rotten and withered grass, and the whole tree is serving those few rotten leaves. The son of a hero has become a tool used by politicians to manipulate people's hearts, and even a street mouse that everyone shouts and beats. You said, will the fourth generation, who has always been gentle and kind, become black after knowing this fact? Kyuubi was stunned for a moment, the shock in his eyes was even worse. Obviously did not expect that Naruto had deduced the truth. In his long life, he had seen too many talented people, but he really didn't pay attention to anyone except a certain pervert who caught himself as a baby. But at this moment, he actually felt admiration for Naruto. He then laughed out loud, I'm looking forward to it when you say that. Thinking of the expression that the always gentle fourth generation might show after understanding Naruto's situation, Kyuubi couldn't help but want to roll on the ground and laugh heartily. It's fun, kid, why don't you try it? Nine Tails kept urging. You reading www.uakanshu.com. I happen to have a lot of questions to ask him. Naruto stood up, his calm eyes revealed a gleam, and he stretched out his hand to grab the seal. For the fourth Hokage, his own biological father, Naruto didn't have a good impression in his heart, and even had some disgust. To be able to become Konoha's Hokage is somewhat IQ. At the top, what matters is not only strength, but also strategy. The distribution of forces in Konoha is intricate. As a flag bearer, the most important thing is to weigh the forces of all parties and make a plan. But the fourth Hokage was as naive as a child, he underestimated the hearts of the three generations, and sealed the Kyuubi foolishly, but he didn't have the heart to guard against the third generation. It stands to reason that in the position of Hokage, he should understand the darkness of Konoha. But he still made a mistake, and the price he paid was Naruto's dark childhood and his current situation of walking on thin ice. This makes Naruto how to have a good impression of this father who has never met. So Naruto stretched out his hand to the seal without hesitation. The moment his hand touched the seal, a big warm hand pressed onto Naruto's. The golden chakra, as warm as the sun, illuminated the entire space, reflecting the complicated eyes of Nine Tails. Minato, it turns out that you really have a backhand. Accompanied by Kyuubi's murmur, a handsome man with blonde hair and blue eyes in white Hokage royal robe appeared beside Naruto. He is known as the Little Sun, and his smile is as bright as the sun. It is also the fourth Hokage, Namikaze Minato, who is loved and respected by the villagers. But no matter how high the reputation he enjoys, in front of Naruto, he is an incompetent father. Naruto, you've grown up. Minato said, looking at Naruto who was extremely similar to him with a complicated expression. Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audiobook YouTube channel Chapter 37, Your apology is pointless. The last time I saw Naruto was a squawking baby, and in the blink of an eye, he had grown up. Now he is elegant and gentle, quite like his own demeanor back then. Minato looked at Naruto seriously, with tears in his eyes. Before he died, he had a lot of things he wanted to say to Naruto. He had thought that perhaps in the future, he would meet Naruto, who would be Konoha's heroic son. At that time, he might have grown into a handsome adult like himself, and even married and had children. But no matter what, he must be as handsome as himself. Now what I have always dreamed of has finally come true. He looked at Naruto who had the same gentle smile as himself, and felt very relieved in his heart. With the identity of the son of a hero, Naruto's life must be very satisfactory. The current Naruto is well dressed, elegant and gentle, handsome, and the blue eyes hidden under the glasses are full of wisdom, which completely inherits his own advantages. Although the ordinary glasses covered the beautiful eyes that inherited her own. But boys, it's a good thing to hide a little edge. It seems that the third generation fulfilled their promise and took good care of Naruto. Thinking of this, Minato smiled, grabbed Naruto's hand affectionately, and said with a smile. Naruto, for you, this should be the first time you've seen me. But what surprised him was that Naruto withdrew his hand and took a step back. His expression was still gentle, but his tone was strange. Fourth Hokage, you're the one who sealed Kyuubi, right? The expected touching moment of father-son reunion did not come, and Minato was a little at a loss. Naruto, I am your father, Namikaze Minato. He seemed to have thought of something, turned his head to look at Nine Tails, his eyes became sharp. Nine Tails, could it be you who made? Before he could finish speaking, he heard Juwei's sarcasm. Fourth generation, lovely young dame, do you know how hard Naruto has been through these years? He was regarded as a monster by the villagers, and everyone shouted and beat him. Old man, he may be dead. Watergate. Impossible. Minato suddenly lost his voice, his eyes full of suspicion. I clearly asked the third generation. Before he finished speaking, his expression froze, and then a flash of surprise flashed in his eyes. After he became the fourth generation, he naturally came into contact with the dark side of Konoha. In addition to the Anbu organization affiliated to Hokage, there is also a route dedicated to cleaning. The route is controlled by Shimura Danzo, and he has done a lot of dirty things behind his back. Shimura Danzo is a guy who is extremely suspicious, cautious, and eager for the position of Hokage. He really loves Konoha, even to the point of madness. For Konoha, he can do anything that violates ethics. But he is extreme. It can even be described as a lunatic. How could Danzo allow Nine Tails Jinchuriki to live as the son of a hero? After simply going through it in his mind, Minato roughly guessed the reason why Naruto's identity was hidden. After the death of himself and Kushina, Konoha Kage's combat strength plummeted. If Kyuubi goes berserk next time, the price Konoha will pay will be unimaginable. Under such circumstances, the Konoha executives wanted to completely control Naruto. So spread rumors and make Naruto's childhood dark so they can save Naruto. Minato looked at Naruto, whose expression was still gentle, but the alienation in his expression was so obvious. He felt bitter. Sure enough, I was negligent. He still made a mistake in trusting people's hearts too much, and trusting the kindness of those strategists too much. With a painful expression on his face, his lips twitched, and he tremblingly said, "I'm sorry, Naruto." Even if he had words full of thoughts, at this moment it could only be turned into a belated apology. Is there any point in apologizing now? But Naruto didn't have a look of blame on his face, he just smiled kindly. He was unusually calm at this moment. I didn't give you the chance to show up to hear your apology. Apologies for the past, this behavior makes no sense. That's right, Sister Yongdai, you were really wrong this time. Kyuubi echoed complacently from the side. For a long time, the fourth Hokage Namikaze Minato has always looked like a successful person, a commoner with outstanding talent, successfully married by Fumi, and even became the fourth Hokage, reaching the pinnacle of life. Kyuubi, who was trapped in Kushina's body, must be upset seeing all this in his eyes. Seeing that the chief culprit who sealed him was deflated now, Kyuubi felt indescribably happy, and his affection for Naruto suddenly surged. Let you see what happened to me first. Naruto stretched out his fingers, feeling a little empty. A light curtain suddenly appeared in front of Minato, on which began to play bits and pieces of Naruto's childhood experience. From the nanny's nasty behavior to the vicious curses of the Konoha villagers. You monster, why don't you die? It's disgusting, go to hell. I really want to kill him. The Naruto in the picture is small and helpless walking on the street, enduring curses that even adults would be crazy to hear, and his weak body even has to bear the blows of various rotten fruits and vegetables. The helpless Naruto could only keep bowing to the surroundings, repeating the words, I'm sorry, I understand the harm the nine-tailed demon fox has brought to you, but now I am Uzumaki Naruto, I am not the nine-tailed demon fox, sorry. He was obviously not wrong, but he kept apologizing. Naruto returned home and washed his body vigorously. The foul smell remains on the body, even if it can be washed away with clean water, the pain caused by the malice will never be washed away. No matter how strong Naruto is, he will inevitably shed tears at night. But he will wipe it off immediately, and tell himself to be strong, a man can't cry. Minato's lips trembled, and his eyes were red. He never imagined that his children would lead such a life. If he knew all this, he would never let Naruto become Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. The scene changed, and then there was a scene of Naruto being bullied by a brat. Those little leaves, whom Minato regarded as the future of Konoha, were kicking Naruto with all their strength, saying vicious words they had learned from their parents. Even if the injuries on Naruto's body healed after one night, he still had bruises all over his body. Minato's pupils shook, and his eyes were full of disbelief and anger. He couldn't believe that the villagers who usually respected him very much had such a terrifying side. He couldn't believe that the villagers he had always guarded were hurting his own flesh and blood. He even couldn't believe that the 3 generations he had trusted in were really so cruel. His mentor, the third Hokage, Hiruzuru Sarutobi failed the entrustment of a junior, and even failed the expectations of the young Hokage. At this moment, Minato's world collapsed. He even began to doubt the so-called will of fire. The will of fire that carried out his ninja career was so ridiculous at this moment. The will of fire, which originally symbolized beauty, has become a prop used by politicians to play with people's hearts. In contrast, my 4th generation is as innocent as a fool. The picture is followed by various purposeful visits by the 3 generations. Reading www.uakanshu.com. In order to survive, Naruto pretended to be optimistic, became refined and gentle, and even started to read The Will of Fire, to make himself a person who loves Konoha. The more Minato watched, the more distressed he became, and the murderous intent boiled in his heart. He was a man killed from the ninja battlefield, and his hands were already stained with blood. It may be that being gentle for too long has made others forget his decisiveness in killing people. People who have been on the battlefield do not have the so-called tenderness. Minato took a deep breath, suppressed the killing intent towards the third generation, and looked at Naruto. I know it's meaningless to say anything now, but I will find a way to make it up to you. Compensation. What compensation do you get? Naruto showed a hint of disdain on his gentle smile. That's right, if you make up for a hammer, you're just an awl. Kyuubi echoed complacently from the side. Yeah, I'm dead, what else can I do? The fourth generation lowered his head in despair, and at this moment of the frightening yellow flash in the battlefield, he was like a defeated soldier, showing an extremely fragile side. Then what do you want to do next? Fourth Hokage's tone was a little humble, not like the majestic fourth Hokage, but like a father begging for forgiveness. From the bottom of his heart, he doesn't want Naruto and Konoha to be enemies. Because Konoha is still the #1 ninja village in the ninja world. If Naruto wants to fight against it, he will undoubtedly hit a stone with an egg. Don't worry, I'm not those short-sighted frogs in a well. Naruto shook his head. Standing in different dimensions, what you see is naturally different. I want to obtain the supreme power and transcend everything. I want to stand in the sky. But if Konoha blocks my way in the future, I will destroy it. That's all. Chapter 38. Give you a chance to be reborn. Stand in the sky. Is this Naruto's ambition? Minato can feel Naruto's seriousness, and firmly believes that Naruto can do it. At this moment, Minato's identity has been completely separated from the fourth Hokage. He used to be eager to manage Konoha well, lead Konoha to a new height, protect Konoha well, and protect everyone. But now, everything he had entrusted and supported his efforts had completely collapsed, leaving only vicious ridicule and sarcasm. Monster, why don't you die? Just ask, which father can hold his breath when he hears such curses? From this moment on, he is no longer 4 generations. Now, he just wants to be a good father. Although I don't have much time, I'm sure I can still help you. Minato could feel the cold liquid sliding down his cheek. It was a disappointment to Konoha, and it was also a pain. He stared closely at Naruto's blue eyes and asked seriously. Although he is dead, the knowledge in his mind is valuable. He believed Naruto would need his knowledge. Since you can't change the past, let's do our best to make Naruto's life better in the future. Help. You are trash now, did you hear that? You are. Kyuubi smugly rebuked, but was stopped by Naruto. Naruto showed a gentle smile again, and said lightly. You can really help me. Great, how do I do it? What do you need? Me. Perhaps seeing the possibility of repairing the relationship between father and son, the calm Minato lost his composure and asked awkwardly. This even drew a mocking laugh from Nine Tails. I want all the information you know about Konoha's high level, various departments, elders, Hokage's habits and hobbies, personality, and even the family behind it. I want everything you know. Naruto said firmly. The fourth Hokage must know a lot of secrets. He hinted. Personal strength can indeed subvert everything, but strength takes time. And Naruto doesn't even know how long he will live. Know thyself, ever victorious. Only by understanding the enemy, knowing them better than themselves, can you control everything about them. Just like the moon in the mirror, controlling everything. I know, I can tell you everything. As long as it is needed, there is a chance to repair the relationship. Minato nodded with joy in his eyes. Very well, I believe you also know my situation. Naruto nodded in satisfaction, and finally there was a smile in his eyes. I am walking on thin ice in Konoha. Facts have proved that they will not give me preferential treatment because of you. What I want is simple, to live first. I want to understand Konoha from a deep level, so that I can become stronger with confidence, and I won't suppress my strength, and even be afraid of training. Having said that, Naruto looked straight into Minato's eyes, which were full of pain and self-blame. Naruto's eyes were calm, and Minato didn't even dare to look at those calm eyes. Through Naruto's eyes, all he saw was peace. Deathly terror calm. This made Minato feel even more bitter. Minato would rather Naruto beat him and yell at him than see such an indifferent Naruto. It seems that to him, he is a passerby. Minato didn't dare to look any further. He was afraid that his heart would hurt even more. At this time, Naruto's tone became more turbulent. You are the fourth generation of Konoha who is highly respected. You manage Konoha well, but, in my opinion, you are a loser. As a Hokage, I miscalculated people's hearts and was deceived by the third generation and the elders. As a father, you arbitrarily let your only son become Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, facing the malice of the world alone. You are too naive. Naruto's tone turned cold. That's right, you're so naive. Kyuubi echoed triumphantly. You were very unqualified in the past. Now, I will give you a chance to be born again. Naruto stretched out his palm, and the white Reiatsu slowly entered Sidai's body. This is. The fourth generation looked surprised, and his weak body became fuller and fuller. This is Reiatsu, an energy that does not belong to this world. Naruto said lightly. I extend your life, and you provide me with value. Naruto withdrew his hand. I can even teach you the method of practicing Reiatsu, so that you can exist in this world in another way. But I want to confirm whether you are still the fourth Hokage whose heart is for Konoha. I'm just a father who wants to make amends. Minato lowered his head and clenched his fists. I'm already dead. I have nothing to do with Konoha in the future. Now I just want you to live better. Okay, then I'll teach you. Naruto nodded. HMPH, Reiatsu is really so magical, could it be as powerful as the old man chakra? Kyuubi snorted coldly on the sidelines. Naruto looked at Kyuubi with a smile in his eyes. Want to learn? I'll teach you. Comma. After Naruto left, only Nine-Tails and Minato remained in the sealed space. Minato looked curiously at the sealed space full of sci-fi feeling, and found it very novel. Seeing Naruto again, and even having a chance of redemption, Minato is in a great mood. Minato is happy, but Kyuubi is unhappy. Thinking of the future where he will be in the same space as Minato, Kyuubi feels uncomfortable. Can't help but sneer. Young Dame, you are really stupid. You are as naive as a child even though you are Hokage. Let me tell you, if Naruto was not smart, he would have been brainwashed into a weapon of war by now. HMPH, it's a good thing Naruto didn't inherit your brain. Before he finished speaking, Kyuubi saw Minato thanking himself with a smile on his face. Anyway, thank you for taking care of Naruto. Huh, old man, this old man just thinks he's more interesting, and wants to see how far he can grow. Hearing the praise from the enemy for the first time, Nine-Tails felt his face turn red. A feeling of panic rose spontaneously in my heart, and I turned my head and snorted coldly. Can you tell me more about Naruto's experiences over the years? Please, Kyuubi. Minato came to the Iron Gate with a pleading tone. Seeing Minato's humble appearance for the first time, Kyuubi felt extremely happy inside. But I can't satisfy Minato so quickly, the resentment and anger that have been sealed all these years haven't vented yet. Juwei rolled his eyes a few times, and suddenly had an idea. Pointing to his computer. If you help me get the flash, I'll consider telling you something. Comma. As the so-called feng shui turns, www.mtlnovel.com, Nine-Tails deeply understands this sentence. He lay leisurely in the sealed space, with his legs crossed, watching Minato sitting in front of the computer, operating the computer with empty eyes. Can't help but let out a barbell-like laugh. Comma. In the days that followed, Naruto learned about the entire Konoha high-level system and operational relationship from Minato. Even the secrets of some big families. As he got to know him better, he was also glad that he didn't show his feet. Anbu is a ninja department under the third generation, and there are many top powerhouses in it. But another route managed by Danzo has the same strength as Anbu, and may even surpass Anbu. The dark part is bright, and the root is inside. Many dirty and nasty things are done by the roots. The two departments complement each other and together form the mode of Konoha. The roots are hidden so deep that no one can give orders except Danzo, and even Minato doesn't have a deep understanding of it. When Minato was alive, many decisions were blocked by Danzo. Although he is Hokage, he will still be restricted by the three generations and the elders. He has a deep understanding of this and is eager to change it, but the differentiation of rights does not happen overnight. Watergate has been working hard, but with little effect. The roots have penetrated deep into the leaves, and even merged with the leaves. The deeper the understanding, the deeper Naruto's dislike for the high-level Konoha. Also deeply understand. You must become stronger as soon as possible, at least you must have the strength to protect yourself. After that, Naruto rarely came to seal the space. He spends a lot of time training. In this way, Time flies, and it is another year in a blink of an eye. Chapter 39. 1 year later, an ominous night. During this year, Naruto went to and from school normally, and treated others gently every day. It quickly won the approval of all the students in the class. In addition to Sasuke and Rock Lee, he has a very good relationship with Hinata, Ikacho, Yumi Shino and others. The practice of Reiatsu and chakra is also going well. Naruto's cutting skill level rises extremely fast. Even the progress of the ghost path is impressive, and now he can chant the ghost path within 50 numbers. But even so, he's not happy with how fast he's growing. After seeing Itachi's oppressive power a year ago, he has higher demands on himself. In the training ground, Naruto pointed his right palm at the boulder. King's Lantern. The mask of flesh and blood, Vientiane, fluttering wings, and the name of human beings. Burning heat and strife, across the sea to the south, step forward. Broken Road 31, Red Cannon. Along with the chant, a red flame condensed in Naruto's right palm, and then shot out. Bang! The red light sank into the rock, and then the boulder, which was as tall as an adult, seemed to be blown apart after being hit hard. However, Naruto then changed his finger to the right, aiming at the gravel flying in the sky. His eyes were calm and unwavering. The fourth broken path, Baile. White light like a poisonous snake burst out from his finger, flying continuously among the gravel in the sky. Bang bang bang. Under the impact of Baile, the gravel in the air turned into powder and fell slowly. Bailei's control accuracy is not enough. Naruto frowned and shook his head. The gravel in the sky is densely packed, and Baile only hit most of the gravel. Naruto wiped off his sweat. The spiritual pressure in his body was still sufficient, and then continued to train hard. Aizen in Naruto's body sees all this, and feels numb to Naruto's talent in his heart. It's just a 7-year-old boy, but he can use ghosts so proficiently, and he can even use ghosts in combination. Even the control accuracy of Ghost Dao has surpassed most of the novice Shinigami. Is this human potential? It's amazing. Seeing this, Aizen felt relieved. He understands that Naruto will continue to improve, and sooner or later he will grow into what he expects. You can also rest assured to plan. Aizen closed her eyes, and slowly faded away from the sealed space. Naruto did not hide ghosts. The Konoha executives also saw it in their eyes, and regarded it as Naruto's blood succession limit. With magical knives and ninjutsu-like attack methods that don't require seals, Konoha executives are full of expectations for Naruto's blood succession limit. If it goes well, Konoha may add a family with blood succession limit in the future. Naruto finished training, and shouted to Rock Lee and Sasuke who were still training hard beside him. Xiaoli, Sasuke, is it over yet? Let's eat. 1005, 1006, 1007. I'll be fine soon. Rock Lee was still doing sit-ups, flushing. Fire escape, the fire art of the Phoenix Immortal. Sasuke stood on the edge of the lake, and after a complex seal, he spewed out continuous fireballs like the fruit of the impatience flower from his mouth, fell into the lake, rolled up a large amount of water vapor, and attracted everyone in the lake. The fish churned and fled in all directions. A few fish turned their bellies up, floated up from the water, and fell into a coma. Taking advantage of the situation, Sasuke picked up the fish, waved his hand at Naruto, and said happily, "There are fish to eat." Ever since Mr. Sasuke experienced the fun of grilling fish and being self-sufficient, it seemed like a new world had opened up. Fishing, an essential skill for Naruto's life, has become an entertainment in the eyes of the young master. After training, the three of them enjoyed grilled fish and walked on Konoha Street. The strange thing is that there are more people on the street than usual, and some ninjas can be seen from time to time. Recently, I feel that more ninjas have returned to the village, and even our clansmen has increased a lot. Sasuke said to himself. Naruto frowned, his eyes skipped past the ninjas, and the reiatsu in his body also depicted the ninjas watching around. Oddly enough, there were at least twice as many ninjas watching as usual. Naruto's intuition told him, they're not just spying on themselves. It can't be Rock Lee. Then there is only. Naruto looked at Sasuke. Are they spying on Sasuke Uchiha? What is the purpose? With such doubts in mind, Naruto was a little preoccupied along the way. The relationship between the Uchiha clan in the village is very tense, And it is true that they are unpopular, but it is not to the extent that they need to be monitored. Hope is my illusion. Naruto thought to himself. Naruto, what are you thinking? At this moment, Sasuke patted Naruto on the shoulder, interrupting his thoughts. No, I was just thinking about what to have for dinner. Naruto smiled gently. Of course we need to supplement our nutrition after training. Let's go eat barbecue. Rock Lee raised his hand and proposed. I agree. The trio walked slowly towards the Konoha Yakiniku restaurant. Inside the sealed space, Minato and Kyuubi started chatting in a rare way. Although the two have been running in and out for a year, at least they have found a delicate balance in getting along. Naruto's talent is really outstanding. Minato felt very relieved after experiencing Naruto's day just now. This Reiatsu is too amazing. I feel that my body has stabilized now. Minato felt his full body, and said, it seems that a spiritual body like me can master the power of a ninja by practicing Reiatsu. Power? I don't know where Naruto got this power, it's really amazing. But 4 generations still have a little worry in their hearts. If it is said that the Reiatsu was brought by Naruto's blood succession limit, then after the Reiatsu is exposed, Naruto will definitely attract the attention of many parties. Especially Danzo. That's Konoha's greatest evil. That kid's blood inheritance boundary is really powerful, HMPH, but the Reiatsu is far worse than the old man's chakra. Ninetails snorted disdainfully. You reading www.uakanshu.com. Up to now he has not chosen to practice Reiatsu. After all, his relationship with Naruto is not that good. The kid's strength has grown quite fast, but his attack methods are a bit too much. Although Naruto is 7 years old, his strength has already reached the Chunin level. Whether it is white fighting or chopping technique, Ghost Way, even the practice of ninjutsu is also improving. It can be said that the current Naruto is an all-round hexagonal fighter. It is said that it is best to focus on a few areas for research. Regardless of whether it is the 3rd generation or the 4th generation, there are areas that are particularly good at. Like Minato, he is good at Muji Ninjutsu and Flying Thunder God, but his chakra is not enough, and he even uses Shanjutsu. Or the well-known powerhouse in the ninja world, the 3rd generation of Raikage, and the ninjutsu that cooperates with the Thunder Escape body in one hand makes him an existence that can fight hand-to-hand with tailed beasts, but he is not as good as the 3rd and 4th generations in terms of ninjutsu up. The powerhouses of the past dynasties basically have a very outstanding skill, but from the current point of view, Naruto has not shown a particularly outstanding skill. Of course, this law does not apply to Aizen. Aizen itself has a terrifying spiritual pressure, which can maximize the ability of the mirror flower and the water moon. Rather than saying that Kyoka Shuijutsu is the most powerful illusion Zanpakuto, it is better to say that Aizen has made Kyoka Shuijutsu. But leaving aside the illusion, Aizen's other abilities are also at the captain level. Instant Ghost Dao without chance, top-notch hit and cut techniques. No matter what field, he is top-notch. Even if there is no mirror, he can still subvert the world of corpses and souls. This is also Naruto's goal. Be truly omnipotent and crush everyone. Chapter 40. Upcoming Purge and Hinata's Changes. Naruto Office. Sandai withdrew his gaze from the crystal ball. Naruto's blood succession boundary has been well developed, and the potential is very high at present. Rizan, you should really hand over Naruto to Genbu, and I will systematically develop his blood successor limit. This blood successor limit is not simple. If there is no accident, we can mass produce it. Danzo frowned. Naruto is Minato's only son. Sandai said dissatisfied. So what? You have failed Minato's expectations. Danzo snorted disdainfully. No, it's all your fault. When it came to the sensitive topic of Minato, Sandai immediately said with dissatisfaction, if you hadn't spread rumors rashly, Naruto would not have grown up with such malice. If like my plan, he grew up in ****** and had a happy childhood, maybe he has fully inherited the will of fire now and has become a ninja worth relying on. As soon as Minato was mentioned, Sandai was filled with anger. Originally, he didn't expect Naruto to bear the malice of the villagers, but unexpectedly something happened halfway. Hey, you didn't stop the rumors at the beginning, didn't you just acquiesce in my actions, and now you regret everything and blame me. Hiruzen, you Hokage is too irresponsible. Danzo also got angry, his tone said sarcastically. Okay, let's not talk about this. Sandai stopped talking about Minato, and smoked his pipe vigorously. It seems that all troubles can drift away with the smoke ring. The office then fell into silence. After a long time, Danzo opened his mouth and said, "It's already over there." Sandai replied sullenly, looking out of the window. There are often ninjas running through the streets under the dark leaves. There was a hint of sadness in his eyes, and he murmured, "We've come this far. Put away your kindness, Hiruzen, the betrayer deserves what he deserves. All we did was to get everything back on track and to protect Konoha." Danzo's tone became more serious. "This is the Konoha guarded by the teacher. It will become better with our joint efforts. Since there is mouse droppings, clean them up. It's a choice they made and we all had to." Under the night, Danzo and Sandai looked at Konoha outside the window, speechless, and their eyes gradually became fierce. Cleaning up, coming soon. Back home, Naruto took off the weight and simply cleaned up his tired body. Lying on the bed, staring at the ceiling in a daze. A year seems to go by like the blink of an eye. Everything is currently on track. Recalling the past bits and pieces, Naruto's mouth also evoked a smile. The first is Nine Tails and Minato in the body. The two were originally enemies but unexpectedly became roommates. The internet-addicted fox is addicted to computer games every day, yelling and yelling, which disturbs Namikaze Minato, and even protested to Naruto countless times. It can be said that feng shui took turns, and Minato, who was not interested in games, was harassed by Kyuubi in various ways. Rock Lee's growth during the year is very obvious. Under Naruto's influence and teaching, he is no longer the original naive boy, at least he has a little brain. For Rock Lee, following Naruto was his goal. In his own words, "My brain is not good. I will never use my brain for things that can be solved with my fists. It will be no problem to follow Naruto. With Naruto, I don't need my brain." The growth of Uchiha Sasuke is more obvious. Although he is still arrogant, Naruto can feel the recognition and even admiration from Sasuke. This tsundere guy trains with Naruto every day. Of course, if Itachi finishes his mission and goes home, Sasuke will not hesitate to drop the training and go to live a two-person world with his Nissan. Haruno Sakura will still be courteous to Naruto, which makes Naruto quite uncomfortable. As for Ino Yamanaka, she still likes Sasuke, but she has a free and easy personality. She gets it if she can get it, and doesn't force it if she can't get it. The other little friends are all the same, there is no major change, and the relationship with Naruto is not bad. Nothing surprised Naruto more than Hinata. I vaguely remember that it was a morning about half a year ago. Naruto was walking on the street, ready to buy some ingredients. Although he is not considered a master chef who has received the worldly knowledge of Death God, he can be considered a small achievement in cooking. Whether it's the fresh, spicy Chinese dishes, or the exquisite presentation of Western dishes, it's all at your fingertips. Every once in a while Naruto would prepare a table of exquisite dishes for himself. In his opinion, life is already so difficult. If there is no sense of ritual, then he would be too sorry for himself. While walking, Naruto suddenly heard a familiar sound of beating and scolding. He followed the sound and found a group of brats bullying a girl. This made him very angry. He thought that the brats who had been taught by him would turn from evil to good, but he didn't expect that their nature would be difficult to change, so he immediately prepared to take action. Then, suddenly a figure appeared in front of the brat, and suddenly punched the wall. With the loud noise, a deeply sunken fist print appeared on the wall. Seeing this, Naruto hid in his hiding place and watched quietly. After the mysterious figure appeared, the bear children were all silent, trembling with fright. "Are you bullying again?" A familiar crisp female voice sounded, and the mysterious figure turned to look at the bear boy. At that moment, Naruto saw his face clearly. That turned out to be Hinata. Is that the only little girl? Hey, you reading www.uakanshu.com you guys. At this moment, Hinata and Naruto's shy and cute image completely contradicted each other. Their eyes had turned into permeable white eyes, and the meridians protruded around the eyes, added a touch of terror. Hinata protected the bullied girl behind her, cornered the brats, put her hands on the wall, and looked at the brats with a murderous expression. "If I see you bullying others again, this punch will hit you in the head." The bear kids were frightened at the news, and ran away in fright. Sister, you are so handsome. The girl who was protected by Hinata looked adoring. Hinata turned around, showing a gentle smile like Naruto, and gently rubbed the girl's head. It's not hurt. Yeah, I'm fine, sister, why don't you join our Wuheihui? How about you be the big sister? The girl hugged Hinata adoringly, her eyes shining brightly. So that doormat has changed. Naruto withdrew his gaze, chuckled and said to himself. It turns out that everyone is working hard and getting better. Everyone's life is changing at any time in the world. Only by making continuous progress can we adapt to the world. He said to himself, with a smile on the corner of his mouth. I added in my heart, but I will be detached from this world. Naruto was very relieved by Hinata's change, which meant she was no longer a doormat. In the days that followed, Naruto found that Hinata always showed a gentle and slightly shy look as long as she was in school. But I am not afraid of communication, but like myself, I am willing to listen and share. It's just that after school, she will help each other when encountering injustice. In just a few months, Hinata subdued all the brats and became the big sister in their hearts. Thank you for watching. Continue exploring the fascinating world of Chinese novels with us. Hit that subscribe button on Chinese Novel Audiobook to stay updated with our latest stories, and never miss out on a great listen.